Should be going live now. If everyone's seeing me live, let me know. We're actually starting without Brandon. He'll be there, and he'll be in a little bit. He's still eating dinner, watching the Super Bowl with his family. There's a lot to talk about today. I'm just going to kind of wait until everyone sort of sees me live. If you guys see me live, let me know in the chat. I want to make sure everything's working properly before we get into the swing of things here. We have a lot to talk about. So, yeah, there is a lot to talk about today, especially because we missed the podcast last week. So there's a lot to cover, and if there's anything you guys want me to refer to specifically, oh, look at that. Hold on a second. So I think the camera cut me out. I hate it when OBS. I know why this happens. So I'll put my face back on momentarily. It's just because there was no one else on the call, it cut me out. So what I'll do, I think I can, I'll go to face cam. No, because now it only wants OBS. Okay. Let me see if I can fix this. Alright, looks like for the time being at least. If it cuts me out again, just let me know. Alright, I should be back on now. So, we're waiting for Brandon to get on. In the meanwhile, okay, cool. So you guys can see me in chat. Good. All right. How's everyone doing? I see everyone in the chat. Kamingo, Grief and Golem, Flamehem Gaming. How you guys doing? Vooper, good evening. Ultra Instinct, Super Saiyan 5, Leah Force. What is up? Michael Garcia, hello, man. I'm well. Lil Skull, big oof, indeed. Yeah. Cool. So, because of the setup right now, I technically am supposed to have another person on here. Brandon will be here in a little bit. I can see that OBS will probably cut my camera off in a little bit. I'll just put it back on again until Brandon's on here. But it might be a little bit annoying, but it's the only way that I'll actually be on camera. So, we have a lot to talk about. Yeah. I imagine Super Bowl is ending soon. I don't care for the Super Bowl. I watched the halftime show. I thought it was... Actually, I thought the halftime show was pretty good. That was quite nice. I was impressed. I didn't expect that much of an entertaining show for the halftime. Everything else I thought was bad, but whatever. Yeah, so let's just quickly go into what we're actually talking about today. For those who are watching this after the fact, they're like, whoa, what are we talking about? So I'll tell you what we're talking about today. Last week we didn't have the podcast. We're going to talk a little bit about how Doom Guy probably is coming to Smash Brothers, apparently. We'll see. We're going to be talking about, we'll probably get a little bit into Animal Crossing, actually. We're starting to get more news about that's coming out. We're going to, at least, for example, I'll just show this to you guys now, right? We have this imagery for an Animal Crossing dock. We got, yeah, can I show, put the images here. You guys should be able to see that. This stuff is just beautiful. So we're going to talk about this Animal Crossing dock and Joy-Cons. It looks amazing. We're talking a little bit about Pokemon Home. I don't know if I got a chance to talk about it last time, to be honest with you. It's been a while. So we're going to talk about Pokemon Home, Doom Guy. We're going to be talking about the Switch lifetime sales and the software sales as well. We got news on that. We're also getting into rumors about Paper Mario. Well, we talked about that last time, but now it seems to be more confident where the rumors are coming from. We also are getting rumors about Breath of the Wild 2 perhaps not making it this year, while we had rumors before and talking about it making it this year. So that's going to be a big topic for today. We're going to be getting into that, going over rumors of the past and different things and evidence that kind of support or go against Breath of the Wild making it this year. We're also going to be getting into talking about the port situation with Pikmin 3 and Super Mario 3D World, and also apparently Wonderful 101. I'll put these images back up in a moment. We're going to be talking about how Shuji Furukawa confirmed that there will be no Switch models coming out this year, meaning that there will be no Switch Pro until 2021 at the earliest, if we go by the president of Nintendo, which It was at an investors meeting, so I would say probably, but we'll get into that as well. It's gonna be a lot to talk about for sure. Then, what else were you talking about? Wait, oh yeah, did I mention Mario Kart 9? Yeah, rumor has it that Mario Kart 9 is happening, so that is going to be a topic of discussion, and all of that I think is going to be a lot. And that doesn't even count my impressions on Byleth in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which I guess I'll get into that now. I think he, whichever version of you play, I think the character is great. It's one of my favorite characters so far. I'm really enjoying the character. I just think the character is amazing. So, let me go ahead and check what you guys are saying here in the chat. Yeah, if you want me to say answer one specific question, feel free to at me. Terry Service Anatomy. I got Byleth yesterday as well as Altier Mii costume, Rabbit hat, and Cuphead Mii costume. I actually really like Byleth. Aha, Griefing Golem. You don't like football, but you're just trying this little thing called human interaction. I am somewhat familiar with that. Oh, right, Vooper. You are tempted by the Animal Crossing. Oh, man, it is very nice. Let me put it up again. We can talk a little bit about that now, I guess. It's beautiful. It really is. It makes me want to buy another Switch as well. I'm not even necessarily like the biggest Animal Crossing fan, but this stuff just looks amazing. I'm excited about it, even though I'm probably not gonna buy it. But it just I mean, you can see like the little town house, or like the lighthouse right there, the little characters in the back of the Switch, and then the Switch case with the leaves. It just looks amazing. And then like apparently you can buy the Joy-Cons separately, which these are some good looking Joy-Cons. And then the dock. Have we had an actual official custom dock that is like, we've had some custom docks, but they haven't been that different from the actual dock. Like they basically just have little decals on them. This is like a completely different coat of paint, and I just think it looks amazing. I'm in love with it, even though I'm not gonna buy it because, well, I want to, but you know, I already have a Switch with a dock. I have no actual need for it. Let me see here, just checking in with the chat. Terry Siverton, you're saying you never believed for a second that Doomguy would come to Smash. Huh. Cold Blood. Fighters Pass 2 wishlist. Travis Touchdown, Ryu Hayabusa, Arlie, Naja, Rayman, Dante, Gino. That's a good list. That's like half of my list. Terry, you also didn't believe that we'd get a new version of the Switch this year. Well, you know, may not be happening. Ultra Instinct, Super Saiyan 5, Leo Force. Rayman is going to get in, I know it. And maybe finally Waluigi and Shadow the Hedgehog can also join Smash Brothers. Well, I'll at least agree that I think Rayman has his time finally coming. Papa Quicks, you just sold your Switch. Oh no. You can't. You're gonna have to buy another one to get this Animal Crossing dock. Yeah, and look at that. You got kicked out again. I'll have this image up, these Animal Crossing images, until, you know, Brandon comes in. That way I don't have to keep restarting the camera. Just going through the chat here. Yeah, guys, I'm in love with this Animal Crossing stuff. It just looks amazing. I'm really excited about it. But you know, I guess to kind of just keep things moving, right? Feel free to say whatever you want in the chat. I'm gonna go ahead and start talking about the sales. I'm really just deciding to talk about this now mainly because I don't want to keep restarting my camera waiting for Brandon. So what I'm gonna do is just put up imagery that won't get restarted by the Discord camera. That way we can talk about this different imagery showing off the different sales for the Switch and the software. And because I think it's actually rather interesting. Can I like do a little half thing here? I think I might be able to do half. Yeah. No. I want whatever. This is good enough. Okay, so you guys should be able to see that, I believe, right? Can you guys actually see that? Yeah, you guys can see it. Cool. So, just going over the numbers right here. So this is as of December 31st, right here. As of December 31st, 2019, the Switch has sold 52.48 million units in terms of hardware, but software it's sold 310. Now, for comparison, look at the Nintendo 3DS. The 3DS has been out for a long, long time. It sold 75.21 million. The Switch is approaching that very quickly. But I think what's even more interesting here isn't necessarily the hardware sales, even though the hardware sales are very strong for Switch. It's the software sales. Now, let's talk about ratios here, okay? So, let's do. I'm gonna do a little bit of math and pull up a calculator just to put a ratio. So, let's round 75 to 76, right? And 382 we round down, right? So 76 to 382. 76 divided by 382. Okay. Yeah. Well, actually, let's do it the other way. Let's do it the other way. My math is terrible. So, yeah. 382 divided by 76 gives us a... Yeah, so there's about 5 games sold for every 3DS, right? But, now let's take the Switch, right? And I guess we'll round it down to 52, right? Technically. So... 311 software divided by 52, that's 5.98. So we're almost at 6 games on Switch compared to 1 system sold, as opposed to on the 3DS 5 games compared to 1 system sold. Now what's really, really interesting about this, okay, it's one, that's more software being sold. The Switch is averaging 1 more game sold, and we're not even halfway into the system's life cycle. This software is that software ratio is supposed to get a little bit bigger as the life cycle goes on, typically, and we already have a higher attach rate than the 3DS. Not to mention the 3DS like software, like the prices for games on 3DS were a lot cheaper. Yet here we are, where there's a lot of games selling for full price $60. Oftentimes, we feel it's almost criminal how high these prices are. Yet, despite that, the attach rate for the Nintendo Switch is incredibly high. Right now, it's averaging, as of December 31st, 6 games per system sold. That's really, really good. That is very special. And it kind of just goes to show you, I mean, let's look at software sales here, right? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, 22.96 million. Smash Ultimate, 17.68. Mario Odyssey, 16.59. Breath of the Wild, 16.34. Breath of the Wild is doing really well. This is the best-selling Zelda game of all time. And for the record, Mario Odyssey is doing way better than Mario Galaxy back on the Wii. And I'll show you. So let's go back to the Wii, right? Going back to the Wii, this is the best-selling games on the Wii. They're all like casual stuff. Just here's a comparison right here, guys. The most hardcore games on the list, right? 13.30 million. Keep in mind, the Wii sold 101 million units. Look at that right here. 101 million units, right? And yet, software-wise, we have a situation where the Smash Brothers on Wii, even though the Wii has sold at this point in time, the Wii has more over twice as many units out there compared to the Switch. Smash Brothers on the Wii sold less than Smash Ultimate. And then look at Mario Galaxy, 12.7 as opposed to the Switch's Mario Odyssey, which is at 16.59. Software sales in terms of like core games are a lot stronger on the Nintendo Switch. This system makes people want to buy and play games. And I think that's something that's pretty remarkable. Games just sell better on the Switch. And every game's selling really, really well. I know everyone hates Pokemon Sword and Shield, but the game is on pace to be the best-selling set of Pokemon games of all time. That's something. A lot of that has to do with the Switch. A lot of that has to do with it being a home console Pokemon. This is very strong, and it's very, very exciting in my opinion, because when games sell well, you know what that means? That means you get sequels. You get more of them, and that, I think, is really cool. So, hopefully, let me see here. What you guys are saying in the chat? Terry Silver's Anatomy. I believe that we'll get Geno, Shantae, Rayman, Lloyd, Irving, Crash Bandicoot, Sora's DLC Fighters, and Fighters Pass 2. It's a good list. Cammy Mango added me. I want Agumon for Smash. The games of Digimon are made by Bandai, and Bandai made Smash Ultimate. You know what? I'm warming up to that idea. I don't know if it'll happen, but if it did happen, I would definitely be excited for it. Grief and Golem ad. Do you still believe the Smash Direct this week happening? What do you mean that by a Smash Direct? There shouldn't be a Smash Direct. We just had a Smash presentation. I do not expect any Smash news for a little while, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit before we see anything for Smash Brothers. So, I'm not expecting that for a while. But yeah, Brandon's not here yet, but I just think the software sales are really strong right now, guys. It's very, very promising. Oh, you're asking about a Nintendo Direct. Okay, a specific Nintendo Direct. Yes, I think a specific Nintendo Direct is coming soon. How soon? I'm guessing next week. Yeah, like where are we at now? Today's the 2nd, so I still think we're about 10 days away. Yeah, we're still about 10 days away. So today's Sunday. I don't expect it this week, but maybe next week, maybe February 13th. It was February 13th last year. I think that could happen. Will Nintendo force us into a situation where we have to wait till like March for a Direct? I don't know, man. I feel like that's a little unlikely. That's just such a long time for a Direct. So I'm gonna say nah. I think we're getting it this February. Just we gotta wait a week or two. There's honestly a lot of people that are talking about this stuff right now. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of different leakers that are referencing things to happen really soon. There's a lot of rumors coming out. I mean, look at all the stuff we're talking about right now. There's there's so much information about games that are sort of like bubbling out, right? Like there's too much to like sort of be kept in. So I think this is a sign that major news is around the corner with a big Direct. I think it not probably. I'm not gonna assume this week, but I'm thinking maybe next week it could happen. If it happens this week, I'm all for it. You know, when am I ever gonna be upset about there being a Nintendo Direct? Maybe, okay, I am never interested in mobile directs. When it's a direct about a mobile game, I'm never, like, really that interested in it. And when it comes to the game-specific directs, it kind of depends on the game. But when it comes to a general Nintendo Direct, I am always all about that. So, and I think most of you guys are as well. Terry added me. It could be possible they get a Nintendo Direct this week. It is possible, for sure. I mean, why not? They could do it this week. I just feel like February 13th is really the day, mainly just because I feel like very often the Directs happen in the middle of a month, and there is that thing when it comes to the Devil May Cry 3 announcements. The final one's supposed to happen on the 13th, which coincides with Thursday, which is typically when we have Nintendo Direct. Sometimes they happen on Wednesdays, but I could see a situation where that final announcement is showing up during a Nintendo Direct. Now, granted, the first two announcements were happened on Twitter, so maybe it just happens on Twitter. It's not at all related to the Direct. That's certainly possible. But either way, I do think we're right around the corner when it comes to a Direct. It's really just a question of when, obviously. But I'm just guessing February 13th. I haven't seen anyone that's like told me like specifically like when is it going to happen. Well, I did actually. I was on Reset Era and I saw someone say 13 and I'm out, which was supposed to be an allusion to last year when there was like 13 and I'm out from King Zell. So maybe that it's happening again. We'll have to wait and see though. Terry, you're saying I have a feeling that Nintendo Direct will give us info and maybe release window for Bayonetta 3. Bayonetta 3. Yeah, that could happen. I could see Bayonetta 3 happening. Yeah, but we got the announcement for Bayonetta 3 Game Awards 2017? Yeah, Game Awards 2017. So it's been over 2 years since the game was announced. I think it's about time that we hear something about it. I don't think that's a crazy expectation. And now that Astral Chain is out of the way, there really is no reason for Platinum Games to not really start pushing Bayonetta if it's ready. And that's really what it comes down to, if Bayonetta is ready. Kemi Mingo, what do you believe in a remake of Metroid or a sequel? Okay, so you're referencing the 2D Metroid rumor. The 2D Metroid rumor. I would like to believe that it is Metroid 5. Now, I think one of the reasons why it should be Metroid 5 mainly is because we've been getting a lot of remasters and remakes, and I think after already... See, there it is. It did it again. Start video call. Yeah, I'm ready to just reset the camera, so it's fine. But... anyways, the point I was trying to get at here is that for 2D Metroid, we just got Metroid Samus Returns in 2017, right? That was a remake of a 2D Metroid. To get another remake of a 2D Metroid a few years later, like, it's not even like a year after, it's like, you know, it was 2017, this is 2020 already. I just feel like it would make more sense to have something new. To just continually do remakes, that would be a little weird. Now, granted, if it's Metroid Fusion Remake, I'm all for that. That's the one 2D Metroid game I have not beaten. So, I would love an opportunity to go back and beat that. I would love that. But my gut is telling me that it's a new Metroid game. Maybe it's the Metroid Dread that we heard about so many years ago, the Vaporware. But I guess it would be hopefully a sequel to Fusion, which is what some rumors have suggested. A sequel to Fusion would be Metroid 5, because Metroid Fusion is Metroid 4. So I'm thinking this rumor is related to a brand new 2D Metroid game. Now, the thing about the 2D Metroid thing is that I've noticed, at least, is that some people, and this is probably more for the casual, very casual fans, right? But I've noticed some people being confused about Metroid 5 and Metroid Prime. Metroid Prime is not a part of the mainline Metroid. It's almost like a spin-off series. Now, it does take place supposedly within the Metroid universe, but it's not late into the Prime timeline. It's early into the Metroid timeline. It's earlier in the Metroid timeline. Now, it'd be interesting to see if how much further Metroid Prime 4 progresses the story. It'd be really cool if it actually is a bit of a time skip. But if I were to guess, it shouldn't be that much longer after the events of Metroid Prime 3. Now, maybe they'll retcon something, that's certainly possible, but we see Silex following Samus at the end of Metroid Prime 3. If someone's following you, you would expect something to happen soon, not years later, right? If they're following you, that's going to lead to a more immediate event. So, given that, and that also Silex was teased at the end of Metroid Prime Federation for stealing a Metroid egg, I think something is building up there. And I do not expect the story for Metroid Prime 4 to take place that much further after Metroid Prime 3. So I don't really expect Metroid Prime 4 to go that much further deeper into the timeline for the Metroid timeline. So there's that. But anyway, point is, if you don't know, Metroid 5 is about 2D Metroid. It's not at all related to Metroid Prime 4, which I know can be confusing with the numbers. But that's just how it is. So let me see here in the chat. Terry, someone at Platinum Games did say 2020 will have a big news from them. Hopefully that big news is Bayonetta 3. I would like to finally see that for sure. It should be about time. Control-Alt-Dan. Something I was thinking about recently is that Reggie mentioned at the end of 2017 that Metroid Prime 4 was progressing well when we now clearly know it wasn't. That's an interesting point. We don't know exactly what happened, right? It's weird. It's a weird situation because we got something like that, and then the Game Awards for 2018, right? December 2018, though the rumor is leading up to that event was that Metroid Prime Trilogy is totally happening. Maybe Metroid Prime 4 will be teased. This is coming from credible sources. Like, it was basically a report, confirmed information that Metroid Prime Trilogy was about to be revealed. And we all thought it would be at the Game Awards, and it was not there. Heck, Reggie was even at the event wearing, yes, it was a Super Smash Bros. Shirt, and it was the day of the release for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but the specific character he had on his shirt was Ridley, the big bad, in Metroid. And there was all this talk and leaks and rumors about Metroid at the Game Awards, and nothing happened. And then what happened a month later, conveniently or coincidentally? The delay for Metroid Prime 4. What I think happened, and I've talked about this before, I'm pretty sure, but basically what I think happened was that these leakers weren't lying or getting false info necessarily, but they got an idea, or they had heard an internal plan that meant that it had something to do with Metroid being revealed at some point around the Game Awards, but there was a development update with Metroid Prime 4. Of course, my camera was cut out again. This is just going to keep happening until Brandon gets back from dinner. So, just bear with me, guys. Anyway, so what happened was, I believe, the plans changed for Metroid Prime. Like I've said, Metroid development is fluid. So when you get rumors and leaks about something, it isn't so much that they're wrong, but they're talking about something that's still a work in progress. And when something's a work in progress, plans can change, things can happen. So at one point, perhaps the plan was to reveal Prime Trilogy at the Game Awards back in 2018, and then that didn't happen, and they just cut it from the show, right? So we just got Smash Brothers, and then there's a couple other little things, but you know what I mean. We also expected Metroid and wasn't there, and then they had their development update. They're like, hey, look, guys, we had to change things up. We're restarting development, and they restarted development with Retro Studios, and we've heard about the demo that Retro Studios had. Supposedly it was impressive, but yeah, it's hard to understand exactly what's going on there. I have optimism that Prime 4 is development is going really well. We keep seeing different hirings for Retro Studios. It seems like they're continually building upon the talent they have, and I'm optimistic that when we finally get to see this game, it's going to be a big deal. When we get to see it, I don't know when that's going to be. Let me see here. Briefing Golem, SAX in high def would be nice. Oh yeah. It's a TRVP. Hello there, partner. See you later, Ultra Instinct. Griefing Golem, an EA art director just signed on to help out Retro. I think that's one of the hirings I was referencing. I saw an article on that not too long ago. I will tell Brandon you said hi, Ultra Instinct. Control Dan. Not only the Ridley shirt he was also wearing a Samus pin on his lapel. Really? During the Game Awards event? I remember the Samus pin years ago with the CrankyCon reveal. Terry Siverton. From what I've heard, Samus has a lost brother. What if Silas gets revealed to be Samus's long lost brother? Well, if there was a long lost brother, that'd be pretty cool. I am personally in love with the idea that it's Ian Malkovich. Ian Malkovich was the little brother for Adam Malkovich, and Samus sort of saw Ian. They were very close, and he died, supposedly. It would be really cool if they did something with that, and Ian Malkovich is Silex. That would be really interesting to see. Maybe after the big sacrifice, something happened to him. His brain got demented, or he got taken over by space pirates, and he's been changed over the years and became a bounty hunter. Maybe. I mean, from what I know the story of Ian, I like the idea of it, but the personality and like what would have led to him changing and becoming Silex the bounty hunter, I'm not sure what would have happened. So it'd be really cool if there was some sort of crazy backstory there like that, but we'll have to sort of wait and see what they're really trying to do. Control it down. Seems like there was a sudden and last-minute reshuffle with Metroid before the Game Awards. That pretty much is what I think happened. Yeah. So let me show you guys. What do I want to show you guys now? Yeah, let's talk a little bit about Pokemon Home. So we'll talk a little about Pokemon Home because Brandon sucks at Pokemon. And then once that's done, we can really dive into the thick of things here. So, Pokemon Home. Now, how do you guys feel about the pricing for Pokemon Home? Like, it's $16 for the app for a whole year. Now, I think that is definitely a lot higher than the $5 for Pokemon Bank. However, there is a free version for Pokemon Home. So the thing about that, like, if there's a free version, you're able to transfer Pokemon at no extra cost. Like, it may be a little bit more cumbersome with the free version, but it is possible to transfer all of your Pokemon at no extra cost. And you are given access to the GTS, which some may claim is a cut feature from Sword and Shield, but you still have access to it for free. So I don't really think it's a problem. Now, the premium version, you have a lot more features with the GTS. You can trade more Pokemon in different ways, all the different trading options. Transferring all of your Pokemon is way different. You have access to, I think, what was it, like, I heard was like 6,000 Pokemon or something like that. So you have a lot more space for holding Pokemon. It seems very convenient. You can see Pokedex entries from the different games, not just one particular game, for every Pokemon you have. There's a brand new sort of imagery for each Pokemon. It's like a sort of 3D render of the older sprites, and that's really cool. So it looks nice. There's going to be a more fully featured Pokedex, a lot more ways to trade, a lot more options, and it's accessible both through mobile and on your Switch. And you're going to be able to put all your Pokemon there from your different games. So honestly, while $16 may be a little high, I do think it is a better package, and I'm okay with this. If you are the kind of person that's going to play a lot of Pokemon, I think the $16 a year isn't really that much of an asking price. So I think it's doable. So those are my sort of thoughts on that. But what do you guys think? You guys think that this is worth it or not? Let me see here. Griffin Golem in reference to Sykes. What if Sykes is just not someone we know and just another bounty hunter? You know what, Griffin Golem? You might be right. You could be. Like, I love it when there's backstory, but the backstory does need to make sense. So if it did somehow to be was Ian Malkovich, I think they would need to explain that in some way. And I don't know if that's something they would do in Metroid Prime. Maybe you have to read about it, which would be interesting. Control Alt Dan. If $16 is expensive, then make sure you're still living with your parents. Yeah, $16 is not expensive. It kind of depends on the person, I guess, right? If you're still living with your parents, then it might be expensive. Terry Saracen. I no longer play Pokemon anymore because I had a feeling that something like this would happen at some point. I mean, yeah, there are different extra costs to be had, for sure here. So, the cost can add up. I mean, if you account for the DLC, right, which I believe is $30, then you have the Pokemon this feature, right, the Pokemon Home. So $16 a year, not one type fee, $16 a year. $30 for the DLC, $60 for the game, and then you have to have a Switch. The prices do add up. So that is, yeah, $16 for a year, Griefing Golem, as far as I'm aware, right? I mean, I have the article right up here. I read about this days ago, but does it even tell you the price on this website? Yeah, right here. There it is. 1 month is $2.99, 3 months is $4.99, 12 months is $15.99. Yeah, so, but I mean, like I said, there is a free version, so if you're not interested in the premium version, you don't have to use it. Kyle Laidlaw, you feel it's a ripoff? I guess the other thing, right, is that you don't have to use it for an extended period of time. Like, if you just want to use it to bring over Pokemon from one game to another, you can do that for the one time, and that's it. I think the other thing to note here is if you don't pay for it, you don't lose your Pokemon. So if you don't want to pay for it let's say you want to pay for it, like, for a month to use it for that month, okay, don't pay for it again until a year or two from down the road when you want to buy another Pokemon game, pay for 1 month, and then that's it. If all you want to do is sort of just transfer Pokemon one time when you're transferring from one game to another, you don't have to pay 12 months every year. You don't have to do the $60 a year. You can just pay for it at 1 month at a time for whenever you do use it. if that works for you, there are different pay strokes, there are different options. And there is still the free version. Terry Siverson. In Japan, there were a few Metroid manga that are canon to the games, and in the manga, it revealed that Samus does have a biological brother. To be honest with you, that's something I have to do a little bit more research on. But that is very interesting, Terry. I think it'd be cool if they could get into that. But at the same time, I do not necessarily want Prime 4 to go into the Metroid Other M route, where they get a little bit too much into the storytelling. It's kind of melodramatic, or it sort of takes you away from the experience because the acting's not very good. Now, I'm not saying there can't be some good story in Metroid, don't get me wrong. I just hope that however they do it, they're very tactful about it. Yeah, from what I understand of the story, basically, and this is probably something I should do some research on, maybe make a video on to make it more clear. But basically, Samus was on a planet with her parents. The Chozo came to visit. Then the space pirates attacked and Ridley killed her parents. And the Chozo took her in, infused her with their DNA, built her a space power suit, trained her, and she became a beast. That's kind of the gist of it from what I understand. So that doesn't mean the parents couldn't have had another child and it was lost before that event. Ah, okay, Brandon, I'll give you a call again. Hello there, friend.
Hello.
How you doing?
Sorry I'm all late and stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah. Just.
So we're pretty much done with the podcast. You can call it a night.
Oh, there you go. I came at the end just to say hi and bye. There you go.
Hello, bye. Who won?
I did not get to see that.
Oh. Was it still not over?
I think it is over, but my family's watching a little bit back, so that they don't want to watch all the commercials. So.
Well, you guys skip the commercials.
Yeah, we do. My parents are just worried that the commercials won't be appropriate for some of the children. So
I
they
see.
Skip all the commercials. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Did you skip the halftime show?
I was not out when they were doing that.
Okay. Because the halftime show had a lot of booty dancing. I liked it.
Yeah, I'm sure they skipped it. Yeah.
It was nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello, Kami Mingo. I see you in the chat. Hello. Yeah. Where are we? I'm ready to get into this discussion.
Ultra Instinct Super Saiyan 5 Leo Force wanted to let you know that he said hi.
Well, hi.
Yeah, he left already though.
Well,
Yeah. So, was various things we were sort of talking about. We for a little bit talked about Switch sales, right? We were just talking about Pokemon Home. Some people don't like it, some people like it. Let me put up I have a whole bunch of different tabs open right here. So,
gotcha.
but so just I gotta organize this a little bit. But anyway, just going back to showing off the sales for the Switch. The Switch is now at 52.48 million units. What I was talking about earlier was that I did a little calculation, right? So 52.48 to 310.6, I rounded, but basically there are 6 games sold for every Switch as opposed to the 3DS, which has 75, and 382, which is 5 games for every 1 3DS sold. So the Switch has a higher attach rate, and it's only been out for under 3 years.
Yeah, the attach rate is really good. I mean, we've been seeing that for sales for a lot of games selling the best on the Switch compared to the other versions and things like that. And with how many people like just the amount of people who own like Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart, and Pokemon compared to how many people on the Switch is really, really high. It's really high compared to any console pretty much. It has one of the higher attach rates of the consoles that have been released thus far. It's doing really good.
It's pretty incredible. And I mean, we have games like Mario Kart Deluxe selling nearly 23 million.
Yeah, it's
Smash
insane.
is at 17.7. Mario Odyssey at 60.6. Zelda is right behind at 16.34. And Pokemon's already broken through the 16 million mark. So it's
That's
on the
crazy.
heels of Breath of the Wild.
That's easily going to be over 20 million. Sword and Shield.
I don't
I
doubt
think.
it.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna be the second best selling Pokemon Switch game. Like, do you think it could beat out Mario Kart?
It might. It's going faster than Mario Kart is, but then again, Mario Kart also is a game that comes out a lot less often than Pokemon does. So the Pokemon hype might die down quicker than, say, the Mario Kart hype would, because it lasts, over most of a generation, whereas Pokemon released several games throughout the generation.
Yeah, like for example, Let's Go is slowed down, right? But I think given that with the DLC situation, they're not going to come out with a Pokemon game this year, right? So the DLC might just help to push the sales even further, especially if they have like a DLC version of the game to come out,
You have to have like an Ultimate Edition or whatever.
Yeah. So if you account for that, I could see Pokemon definitely, and given that there'd be no actual game this year, so people will probably just continue to buy this version of Pokemon, just with the DLC attached to it, and it could. I mean, it's definitely gonna pass Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey, and I'd say Smash is it's pretty much guaranteed to be the second best-selling Pokemon Switch game at this point, maybe even the first best. It's really just comes down to will it pass Mario Kart or not, because it's it's basically 1.5 million away from passing Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Yeah, which it's definitely gonna do, for sure.
Which is nuts. That's the
this
power.
Is as of what, December 31st?
Yeah.
So it's not even current.
No.
It might have already passed that.
Perhaps.
It might already be the second best selling. Well, then you gotta count the ongoing sales of the other ones, but it's a much newer game. So
I say Pokemon is definitely selling faster than the other games.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about that. And have you seen the new Animal Crossing Switch and Joy-Cons?
I have, and I'm like, I'm not gonna buy another Switch. I'm not gonna buy another Switch. I'm not gonna buy another Switch. I won't buy 2 Switches. I really want to, but no. God, I really want it, and it's one of the new ones with the better battery life and stuff, and I don't have that version, so I'm just like, oh, I really want it.
Yeah.
But
it's beautiful.
No. So if I bought that,
beautiful.
I'd literally never sell it. It'd be mine, and I'd have it, and I can afford it. That's the worst thing. I can afford it easy. The problem is I just don't want to afford it. It sucks having money. It sucks not having money, but it sucks having money because then you want to spend it and then have no money.
Yeah.
It's the same situation.
It's quite a predicament you're in, having money.
Yeah, it's the catch-22. You either don't have money and you still want to buy stuff. You have money, then you're like,
when you have money, you have
more.
bills to pay instead, so you don't get to use it for things you want. That's how it works. Yeah, it's pretty rough. But we basically talked about the Animal Crossing stuff, the Smash stuff, and Pokemon Home. Now, what we didn't talk, I said Smash stuff. We talked about sales, the Smash thing. So basically, we didn't talk about this last week because we didn't do the podcast last week. But the Doom Eternal director talked about Doomslayer and Smash Ultimate, but it never went anywhere. So there were talks, but it didn't materialize into anything. And people have taken this to basically mean that it's not happening. What say you?
Yeah, I'd say that's kind of what he means. I mean, if he said it didn't materialize into anything, then, well, it didn't go anywhere. And it's definitely not a character because it'd be materializing into something.
It finally answers the question that we were waiting for so long. We knew that there were talks. We know the talks happened. And here they're saying, yeah, we had talks. Nothing materialized. So now it's possible that, Bethesda had discussions with Nintendo and Doom was considered, but ultimately didn't materialize to anything. That doesn't mean there couldn't be another Bethesda property that doesn't get involved with Smash Brothers.
It's true. They have a bunch of other ones, so they could have a bunch of different characters but Doom Guy was the one I wanted. But then you gotta also take this as the possibility that it's just PR not wanting to say what happened.
Right.
But they did comment. That's the thing. They could have declined to comment, but they actually did comment and deconfirm, which in my mind they didn't have to do. So that makes it a little bit less likely, because sometimes they'll decline to comment or they'll just brush things off. This, I don't think they even really needed to comment, but they did. So that's interesting in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say that they're not saying it can never happen, right?
Mhm.
It's just saying at this point there hasn't been anything to come up, right? So I wouldn't bank on it for, say, Fighters Pass 2. But who knows what can happen in the future? The relationship between Nintendo and Bethesda continues to thrive. When there's another Smash Brothers, maybe it could be for that, right? If there's a Fighters Pass Volume 3, I guess. But I am not ready to even entertain the possibility of that.
No, that's
No.
not.
I don't believe it.
I seriously doubt it. I seriously doubt there'll be anything. I mean, because this Fighters Pass 2 ends in what, like 2021?
Yeah.
The end of 2021?
Yeah.
So, I really doubt they're going to do anything after that. Like, eventually, you got to start making the next game, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to be making DLC past, like, 3 years past the release of the game. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Griffin Golem added me. Doom Guy ain't coming. I'm kind of happy at this Steve confirmation as it will stop people from acting rude about him. People are acting rude?
Yeah, I don't understand exactly what you mean about that. But it is kind of nice to know that it's not happening. At the same time, like, I really wanted him, so... but
at least now you don't...
Now I can focus on other characters.
Right. We can move on.
Yeah.
So... Yeah, I like I said, I would like to see a Doom Guy, but there's so many possibilities, you know. We'll see. I feel pretty good about my personal predictions. Obviously, I'm sure that at least half of it will be wrong, but you know, there's got to be. I think there's definitely gonna still be a couple of big third-party characters. The ones that come to mind to me that I really feel like fit really well are Crash Bandicoot and Rayman. Like, those are the kind of characters that I think would be really fun to have in the game. I have a hard time thinking that, say, for example, Lara Croft would be a really fun character to have.
Yeah, she just doesn't seem... Like, she's a cool character, and she has a pretty good history with video games.
Yeah, I just have a...
Nintendo, but video games. But it's just, like, her moveset, I can't think of anything that would be, like, super interesting. Maybe like a faster Solid Snake-ish character.
Not really explosives, but you know, she would use a lot of bow and hunting
more on
stuff.
like the weapons side.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I mean, I don't see it happening. But I guess at the same time, I feel like there should be like a female character. But yeah, I mean, I made a video about it. We've talked about it before. I feel like a space where there's serious potential for there to be a female character would be a Zelda character. Like, you got Impa as potential, right? Or Bosa, or maybe perhaps another character that has a big feature from Breath of the Wild 2. Sakurai did start talking about Breath of the Wild during the Smash presentation. Perhaps he's hinting at something, right? I think it's possible. I don't know how likely it is, but I think that's in the cards. Now, there are some more obscure third-party characters that could perhaps be added as DLC characters in the Fighters Pass. Like, I know one that people will bring up that I don't know too much about, but it's a character that's brought up a lot, and that's Reimu. So perhaps her. And besides that, I mean, I've talked about Shantae, but people say, oh, she's a spirit, she's an indie character. It doesn't seem likely. I would like there to be a Shantae character. I feel like she'd be a really fun character. Given
she'd be an excellent character.
She'd be amazing as a half genie with her powers and her personality and the music from her games. Like, there's a lot there.
Yeah.
But I could also easily see a situation where they throw us a bone and just a bone, and it's Shantae the Mii costume, which would be cool. Like, imagine a custom Mii costume of Shantae. That would be fun. I would actually really like that, but I think it'd be even better if she was an actual character. But again, she's not that big of a deal compared to... She's an indie character, right? She's not from a major third-party company, so that could hold her back.
I'm not sure. I don't know. Her as a Mii costume, I feel like the other Mii costumes that have been added really feel like you're playing as the character because they work well with the typical like moves that the Mii fighters have. I feel like Shantae's moves would be too different from the moves that the Mii fighters have, and it'd be less authentic. Also, she's a much different like the other characters look very, very much like they're real characters.
Yeah, they're custom Mii
like
costumes.
Yeah, I feel like her shape is a little bit more nuanced than they are, because they're like Sans is like really plain. He's just a skeleton. So I feel like I don't know if they would do it justice, is what I'm saying. Like,
they wouldn't.
The other ones
it would not be justice. It would be a missed opportunity.
The other ones look like they're real characters. They kind of feel like how you think they might play. I feel like Shantae wouldn't be like that, you know? I feel like she would just feel weird. It would just, it'd be less,
right. And I mean,
and
that's kind of like the reason I keep coming back to Shantae, is just that, like, as a character, I just feel like she would be such a great fit to Smash Brothers, you know?
Yeah, super unique, I think.
And that's really what it is. Not to mention, she's had such a long history on Nintendo systems at this point, you know? Like, I feel like you can make a legitimate argument that out of all indie characters, Shantae perhaps deserves it the most, because her games have been predominantly on Nintendo systems. She's been around for a long time. She has a lot of really unique moveset potential. She'd be a great representative as the DLC to represent gaming, but also we'd finally have that female rep. So for all those reasons, I think she'd be really strong. Like, you look at Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight was a multi-platform game. Granted, it sold best on Nintendo, if I remember correctly.
I think it did release first on the Wii U, didn't it?
I don't remember the timing of it, but it definitely, the priority was Nintendo. That.
And it had the amiibo support, which had like extra content or something. I forget exactly what it was.
But that's the thing. Shovel Knight has basically one game with DLC packs. Shantae's, we're talking about Shantae 5 now, right? Like, there's been a lot of Shantae games for years.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the Shovel Knight, the DLC packs are
basically games. I agree. Yeah. So
I will say the thing is, like, I used to say, like, oh, I don't think Shantae's gonna get in because if Shovel Knight didn't make it, anyone would. Because I thought Shovel Knight's definitely, I feel like, more popular than Shantae.
Yeah.
But when I think about it in terms of like how unique a character would be, and I think Sakurai thinks about this as well, and we can see that with the Fighters Pass, he picked a lot of characters that were very unique, and he mentioned that in the reveal event for Byleth and stuff. He mentioned that he wanted to make them all very unique. And I can see like why they would pick Shantae over Shovel Knight any day, because Shovel Knight would be very basic, and I think he works very well as a Mii costume. As I was saying earlier, the Mii costumes that have been released feel very authentic with the moveset, because they just work very well with the Mii fighters. But Shantae is a lot more unique, so maybe they would go with Shantae over Shovel Knight for that reason, and that makes me think it's a lot more likely, because before I was just kind of like, nah, 100% don't think it's gonna happen. But now I'm like, oh yeah, I think there's a possibility here, just because of how unique Shantae is compared to Shovel Knight.
Yeah, and I'm kind of with you there. Now, I mean, Shovel Knight did get, an assist trophy? So that's, as far as indie games go, that's I would say it's a pretty high honor. He's been as honored as well.
Oh yeah, he was an assist trophy, not a Mii costume.
Yeah, but I mean, they could make a Mii costume for Shovel Knight too, you know?
Yeah, I think it would work with that as well.
But his assist trophy does, I think, do him some justice. Now, after Shovel Knight, I would say the next best indie character bet is Shantae, right? Mm-hmm. Especially since both Sans and Cuphead are out of the equation now with their Mii costumes. Honestly, cool Mii costumes.
If it's not Shantae, I don't see any other indie character that makes sense at all.
I mean, it may very well be the case that none of them will be it, right? So, Shantae got her spirit. Maybe that's all she'll ever get, at least for Smash Ultimate. But maybe so. I'm just saying, man. Shantae, there's just something about Shantae that just makes sense, She's very Nintendo-esque, and I think that's really... Yeah. Like, it does come down to what kind of... And that's the other thing, right? Like, everyone is kind of assuming that this next Fighters Pass is going to be predominantly all from big third-party companies and maybe one Nintendo character, maybe two, right? Some people are still just kind of predicting entirely third-party again, which I do not agree with. because
it wasn't true the first time.
it wasn't true the first time, right? And I feel like it's actually going to be sliding in the direction of more Nintendo characters, but that's up for debate, and I think that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
It's certainly up for debate.
I could definitely see it being the same situation where it's mostly third party, and then we get one Nintendo character at the end, to be honest. But I think we might get two. Honestly, that's in my opinion. I don't think we'll get more than two, because I do think Sakurai meant what he said when he said he wanted to bring as many franchises and worlds in as possible, and I think third party is the easiest and best way to do that. But I do think we might get another Nintendo character, so two Nintendo characters this time instead of one.
Yeah, and on that note, in terms of third-party characters that I think deserve it, like major third-party characters, Crash Bandicoot and Rayman are like the characters that I think of that make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people want Sora. I think Sora would be like a huge deal, and I think it's possible. But in terms of like an easy fit, I keep thinking Shantae, but Rayman and Banjo's already in. Rayman and Crash Bandicoot are like right there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they're gonna handle the Rayman amiibo, but
it's very interesting that those are both like classic PS1 era like games.
Well, Rayman was on Nintendo too. Yeah.
Was it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, but still, they were the classic platforming characters back in the 90s. So I would like to see them in there for sure. Grief and Golem Anatomy. What about That Night from Hollow Knight? You know, that's one game I still need to play.
I really don't.
I don't think it has the legacy. Yeah,
no.
Like I wouldn't put Hollow Knight above Shantae, Cuphead, Sans, or Shovel Knight. Like, you know, like it's definitely amongst indie characters. Like it's high, but I wouldn't put it above the four.
It's lower. It's lower than Sans and Shovel Knight by far. Like, it's a great game, and you know it does have it and its sequel on the Switch, but it's not one of those games where it's like Undertale is almost like a pop culture thing. It was it had like a very big following. Everybody knew what it was, even outside the general indie community. Shantae has a huge cult following, and it's more Nintendo-esque. And then you got Shovel Knight, which of course is Shovel Knight, one of the biggest indie games like ever. And Hollow Knight is considered a great indie game, but it's not really like an outstanding one. In terms of like its public view and things like the other ones are just on a different tier, you know?
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Now, if it did happen, I'm not complaining. I think from what I've seen of Hollow Knight,
maybe.
What?
I could see a Spirit, maybe.
Oh, perhaps, yeah. You know, it's one of those things where like whenever we talk about a particular character, I always like feel bad saying, "Oh, that character will never make it." I'm not trying to say that. Like, it's just kind of like one of those things where, you know, there's just so many characters. I don't think there's necessarily a character that can't make it in. It just comes down to which one I think is more likely. And obviously, I'm not the one picking the characters, nor is Brandon, right? Or really pretty much anyone you see on the internet, save for Sakurai and a select few members at Nintendo. And other third-party companies. It is just, you know, speculation, really. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
But on that note, I think we should move on to talk about other things. So, we've covered some things where we talked about Doom Guy, right? We talked about Switch sales and how strong it is. And I already talked about Pokemon Home. What did you think of Pokemon Home? I feel like you just don't care.
I don't even.
Yeah, you're probably not going to use it. Yeah.
No, I don't even really understand what's different about it and Pokemon Bank.
There's more features in it. There's a free version, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah.
I heard people complaining about the subscription, but
there's a free version. You can't do that much in the free version, but you have to pay for Pokemon Bank. So, you know, it is more than Pokemon Bank. Right?
Pokemon Bank was like a couple bucks a year.
$5 a year as opposed to $16.
Yeah.
So it is
even like $16 a year is nothing. It's like 2 months of Crunchyroll
every year. I think it just comes down to how big of if you're a big Pokemon player, $16 a year should be worth it, right? If you're just a Pokemon player for maybe you just use the free one. You have access to the free one, so
yeah, that's a free one, so it doesn't. I don't see the problem.
Yeah, and if you just want to get it for a month, it's $3, right? Just to use the features for a month and then take a break until you need to use the features for a lot. It's not you don't lose the Pokemon; it's still there. So
it's like nothing. It's such a drop in the bucket. You know, it's just a ridiculously low amount of money.
Yeah, I just think some people just think it's unfair that it's that high to begin with. I do think it's a little high, but for what it is compared to Pokemon Bank. But it is better than Pokemon Bank, and there's a free option, so I'm not really up in arms about it.
And there wasn't a free option for Pokemon Bank, was there?
Not to my recollection.
Yeah, so you had to pay for that.
Yeah. But yeah, moving on. So we've talked about Pokemon Home, we've talked about Doom, guys. Pretty much the stuff from last week. Talk about Switch sales. Oh man, let's talk about the big stuff now. All right, so
Sure.
We talked about 2D Metroid and Paper Mario last week, right? We did. No, the week before last week. It's all over now. Yeah. Well, now there's more confidence about Paper Mario. So cool. It's not a remake like an actual new Paper Mario. So that's part of the rumor. Pretty cool. I'm just gonna put up this tweet here. He's talking about it. It's the other stuff that's being said that I don't like. Well, okay. All right. Got some good words for Mario from another source. Now I have absolutely no skepticism. Be hype. Also got some more specific teases on the way. Won't say too much. This is where my heart is a little wavery. So, Breath of the Wild 2 taking longer than anticipated back during E3 2019, so it doesn't seem to be this year's holiday release, which adds more credence to the major title I was referencing on a tweet the other day. Neither are set in stone yet, so take some salt. The more likely one has tires. He's referencing Mario Kart, most likely. Mario Kart 9. So Mario Kart 9, okay, that's cool. I'm for that. But that does not replace Zelda. No. And that's what I don't like about some people. They're like, oh, we got Mario Kart 9. There's no instead. Okay, it's two different things. Yeah. Okay.
You could say maybe Mario Odyssey or something.
Right.
I think that's the only one I would take. It's just, you got Zelda Breath of the Wild, you got Mario Odyssey.
There is one other.
Then it's like
there's one other thing that could sub in for those two. Metroid Prime 4.
There you go. That one too. Though that's definitely not coming out this year.
I don't expect that. No. But the point standing that you don't replace Breath of the Wild 2 with Mario Kart. Okay, that doesn't happen, right? It's like.
I mean, if you have to, if there's no other option.
It's better to have a game than no game, sure.
Yeah, and Mario Kart 9 honestly would sell better than Breath of the Wild 2, but in terms of like fan hype, no.
But I mean, just look at the sales of Breath of the Wild. Did great. It's the fourth best-selling game on Switch. Now it's soon to be 5, but still, that's very good. It's the best-selling Zelda game ever. That's something definitely to be proud of. That's something definitely to push. I would not be happy. Although I could see Animal Crossing also passing Zelda eventually too. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Actually, probably passing Mario Odyssey as well. And maybe Smash, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Animal Crossing is huge.
Yeah, Animal Crossing could become number 3 on the list.
It could.
Yeah, for sure. Unless there's Mario Kart 9. But that's the weird thing, okay? Because we've talked about it before. This is gonna be, if it's true that Mario Kart 9 is coming, it's gonna be the first time we've had a mainline system have 2 major Mario Kart games. Like, it's gonna be interesting to see how that works out. Yeah. How is that gonna impact sales? I mean, will there be as many Mario Kart 9 sold? Or will it be a situation like, oh, can we get Mario Kart 9? Honey, we have Mario Kart 9 at home. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, right? Like, so.
I think the thing is, like, Mario Kart 9 needs to be very different from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
And I think what people are alluding to is that it won't be like Mario Kart. It'll be more like Smash Kart.
That would be really cool. I would like that.
It is
I don't
kind of what the
necessarily-
DLC suggested, the direction they were heading into. Like, where do you go from here, right? You look at the success of Super Smash Brothers, that might be the direction they need to go.
I think there will be a few more. I don't think it's going to be full on Smash Kart where, half the characters are from other, franchises, but...
Nintendo franchise. I don't think they'll go third party.
Well, yeah. I mean, the Nintendo franchise, yeah. I think there will be a few more, maybe like 3 to 5 more than they currently are, but I don't think it's going to be like, this is Smash Kart now.
Well, it'd be cool to have, like...
It's going to be a few more.
It'd be cool to have, like, Zelda and Link and Ganondorf, right? Oh, it'd be funny to have Samus and Ridley. I just kind of imagine them, like, in the carts, that'd be... Because they're all, like, chibi-fied, So I think it'd be kind of cool to see that. Who else?
You need Captain Falcon, because I don't think...
Oh, Captain Falcon.
Which is so weird. Why is Captain Falcon...
I think it'd be more... I'm not sure... It's a slap in the face.
I think he can get in. He has a track. He has 2 tracks and a cart. Why is he not in the game?
And I'm just going to point out that for those hoping that maybe the rumor is not about Mario Kart 9 and actually F-Zero, they said tires. Tires is nothing. F-Zero doesn't have any tires.
No wave race.
They have G diffuser systems. Like, no jet skis. Yeah.
Yeah, no jet skis. You got no snowboards. Maybe this is what is it? I forget the name. Anyways, yeah, it's probably Mario Kart, 100%. I don't think, because he said it's a big game too. It's a big game with tires. I can only think of.
I mean, if you just think of it by the numbers, yeah, Mario Kart is big,
yeah.
Very big, huge. And like
I think the thing that might set it apart is things like mission modes, a story mode, things like that, that people have been like begging for. Like Mario Kart 8 is so bare bones in sort of like pure single player content. Like there's no campaign mode.
I agree. There's a lot more they can do.
But...
I think the core system Mario Kart was great, but I think they need to do more to fill it out. Like you said, mission mode would be cool, story mode would be cool. One thing I like about Mario Kart, they had like an event, so it was like a different challenge that has boss fights every week. I want that to return, along with the mission modes and story modes we sort of got in Mario Kart DS. Put that together, maybe have like a sort of lobby you can explore, right? Like, how like you actually can like see like the Toads like in some of the imagery from Mario Kart 8 working on the cars and stuff like that. Imagine having like a racing circuit area where there's different parts, like there's a different section for each like character, and you can sort of explore. It's like a little hub world,
Yeah.
Like let's go Mario Kart like Diddy Kong style, Diddy Kong racing style. Have a little hub world, but have it, for the I guess central circuit for Mario Kart. Maybe there could be one for each Grand Prix or something like that. That would be really cool. It would just sort of expand the universe of Mario Kart a little bit more, the Nintendo universe, in fact, especially if they would make it more like a Smash Kart. That'd be really cool. And maybe do more with the online. Make it more like have seasons and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That'd
I mean, like
nice.
Mario Kart Tour even has like the different seasons of tracks and stuff.
And that could be an implication for what they'll do with the next Mario Kart. Yeah, I'm excited for this. I'm all for this. Don't get me wrong, guys. My incredible disappointment, because it's not confirmed yet. Okay, I'm not giving up. But if Breath of the Wild 2 doesn't come out, I will be very disappointed. But that doesn't mean I won't be excited for Mario Kart 9. Right? 2 different things.
Yeah, and I think honestly, I could see them not bringing back the old tracks from Mario Kart 8 because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe already exists, and just doing like brand new tracks and returning tracks that weren't in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yep. Might
Because
as well.
I think,
it's on the same system. Like, just don't even touch the tracks.
Yeah, there's no point. Because I do think it would be like an upgraded graphical engine, and the part, because
if you want to race those tracks, play Mario Kart Deluxe.
One.
Yeah, I agree.
Mario Kart Deluxe. So I definitely think that they'll go with like a bunch of brand new tracks and a bunch of returning ones that were not in Mario Kart Deluxe. I don't think they'll waste their time touching up tracks from the that game.
You remember when they just randomly dropped the motorcycle Link cart in Mario Kart 8? They just randomly did that. It's like, hey, here you go, guys. That was nice. Like, I wonder why they just went back just to do that one little thing. You know?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird.
It was really weird.
I'm okay with it. I
Just like, here's Breath of the Wild, Link, and the Master Cycle. I was like, oh, sweet.
I use them. I use Breath of the Wild Link in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe whenever I play. I love it.
I feel like they had that plan to be closer to the DLC pack 2 than it actually was. Because like that would have it was like a few months after, I think. I feel like it should have been closer.
You mean the reveal for Breath of the Wild Link?
Yeah, Breath of the Wild Link and the Master Cycle, because that was directly correspondent to
that came out 2017, but the DLC for Mario Kart came out like 2015.
Oh no, I'm talking about the one that came out for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Oh, when did I was thinking you said pack 2, so I thought you were talking about like a paid DLC pack or something.
No, pack 2 for Breath of the Wild.
Because
it came out like a few months after that.
Oh, okay. I feel like they just decided to make it after the fact.
Maybe.
That was my impression. I mean, it was a while ago, so it's hard to say for sure, like with all the details, but yeah. But let's take a look at the chat here real quick. Let's see, Terry. Shanta's becoming popular enough to be getting merchandise, and she's also getting a Funko Pop figure this year. Wow, that's cool.
Nice.
He's also saying, I believe it's time for Mario Kart 9. I really hope that Pauline will be a base roster driver.
For 100%, she needs to be in.
We agree. Terry Siverson added me. What if it turns out the game Sabi is hinting at ends up being a Excite Bike or Excite Truck? And
those are the ones I was trying to think of earlier.
That would be stupid.
I don't think those are the big... Because
it would be stupid for calling that a big holiday game.
Yeah. Those are not big holiday games.
No.
Those are cool games. It'd be interesting to have them, but that's not...
For sure. Yeah.
Not big holiday games.
No, yeah. Yeah. Ultra Instinct Super Saiyan 5 is here. He's asking, where is my Waluigi game, Nintendo? Well, I'll have you know that Waluigi is going to be the big holiday game.
There you go.
Waluigi's Love Taco Stand Hotel. Yep.
Since when is he a big taco guy?
Since now.
Wow.
But how do you feel, Brandon, about this rumor about Breath of the Wild 2 not potentially coming out this year? Keep in mind, we've had rumors that were to the contrary, like not too long beforehand, saying that it would be coming out this year.
I definitely think that in 2019, the plan was this year. Like, I don't think there's any way that they were like, we're gonna announce it in 2019, release it in 2021. This is a great plan. Like, I don't think they thought that. I definitely think that their plan was holiday 2020. Now, I could see it getting delayed. That's the thing. Like, almost every Zelda game gets delayed. It's ridiculous.
Right.
So I could see it getting delayed.
It's not an official delay because it was never announced when it was coming out. But the internal plan, we all believe, was this year. Yeah.
I think that would be a big loss for 2020 because I think they need Zelda to go up against the next gen consoles.
Well,
they need
no
Zelda.
Switch Pro. Right, no Switch Pro. Right. Let's talk briefly about that. I don't think there's much to say if you agree. If you disagree, then maybe there is more to say on that. But basically, Shunto Furukawa came out and said, hey guys, there is no, it was in an investors meeting. This was a planned thing that was said. There will be no Switch models this year. New Switch models this year. It's kind of very clear cut. It's not like last year where they said there would be no Switch revisions at E3. Because they kept true. They didn't lie. They came out with the Switch Lite after E3. So, you know, I think that this legitimately means that there will be no Switch Pro this year. I want one. I want it to not be true, but I think it's
really
safe to believe the president of Nintendo saying this at an investors meeting. This is not a PR interview thing.
That's the thing. If it was an interview, I'd be like, whatever. Like,
yeah,
okay. Reggie said there wasn't going to be a DS Lite either. like a week before it was announced, so whatever.
Yeah.
But this is like a planned thing. Like, they didn't even have to address this.
They decided to address it. Yeah. And it's just
I think, in my opinion, I think on one hand, I think it's a bad move because I think people are really hungry for it, and I think it'd be an interesting competition to the next gen systems. But I could also see them, if it is like $400, and they're thinking, we don't know what the prices of the next gen consoles are. There are rumors of the PS5 being $400. Like maybe they're
Maybe
like,
they want to be more
we don't want.
reactive rather than proactive.
Yeah, they're like, maybe we don't want to release a $400 system a few months before the next gen consoles release at $400 or $500. Like, I can see that being their thought process. I think that there's kind of a flaw in that process just because it is coming out beforehand and people are like really ravenous for a new Switch.
But they're ravenous for the current Switch, so
Yeah, that's the thing.
Maybe we should just trade in our
maybe be like,
Switches
"Oh,
for
maybe we'll hold off."
for the subtle revision they already put out, so we have better battery.
Maybe I'll trade it in for the Animal Crossing version.
Maybe that's not like necessarily a terrible idea. No, it's not. But yeah, so we're.
But then I'll never want to trade it in towards the Switch Pro. I'm like, no, my baby. I must have the Pro.
But if we're already talking about 2021, like how much longer is it before we just get another Switch, like the next generation? Like having a Switch come out 30 years is one thing, but waiting till the 4th year, we're getting to that point where is it really worth having? I mean, you gotta think there's gonna be more revisions.
Mm-hmm. I think it is worth it, especially because Nintendo wants to keep the Switch around. Supposedly, this is what they've said. They wanted to keep it around for a really long time. So longer than the typical lifespan. So if you have it in the 4th year, typically like 5 years is a typical console lifespan. So maybe they want to get it out for 7 years. You got to the 4th year, that's still 3 years before the next console. Even if it's 6, that's still 2 years before the next console. And the Xbox, that's pretty similar to what we got with like the Xbox.
I feel like what's gonna happen is that we're gonna get a next generation system, and it's gonna be backwards compatible.
That I think would be very smart. My question is, do they really want to? Because I don't think Nintendo would release games for both. I mean, maybe like a Breath of the Wild
backwards
situation,
compatible, not forwards compatible.
Yeah, that's the thing. But do they really want to split their fan base like that? I mean, they're at 50 million.
Not now. I'm talking about like 3 years from now.
Yeah. I do think that they'll do that for the next gen. But I think it'll be the same form factor, so why not? But I do think I think it would be smart for them to have a Switch Pro in between, because I think people would buy that.
Maybe Shunta Furukawa is lying. Or what if I meant the fiscal year that's ending, not this calendar year that's now. Yeah. That's like maybe the only possible way you could spin it, and that's still probably wrong.
But yeah, I could see them waiting to 2021. Like, I don't see them. If it's not 2021, it's not happening. We're just waiting for the next gen. Like, there's no way 2022 comes around and they're like, oh, there's Switch Pro. Unless they want to keep this thing out for like 8 years or something, like 9 years. Like, I don't see that.
According to Terry Saracen, he's saying Nintendo said they want to Switch the last 8 to 10 years, and they do, but it'll be those last years aren't going to be like the Switch being the main system. It's going to be like a 3DS.
I don't think the Switch would last.
No, it'll be like the 3DS, right? Where it's this other cheap system that's available that has a whole bunch of games available for it, just like the 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy it if you want, but most people are buying the big boy Switch Super or something.
It cannot last on its own. Like, the generation won't last that long. It just won't. Like, even like the 360, the PS3, the Wii, they had ridiculously long lifespans. They were dead for the last 2 years. Just absolutely dead. Like, if they didn't have the next gen, like, right around gaming was dying. The next gen saved it.
Yeah, like, I mean, there's other examples of systems having like 10-year life cycles. Like, I mean, the Sony systems, like we were sort of talking about, it's they go on for about 10 years, but they're not the main system. It's the PS2 or the PS3, right? It's the same thing with the Switch and 3DS now. I expect the Switch to last somewhere about 8 to 10 years. It will be on the market for that long, but it won't be the primary system Nintendo's pushing for that
I think
long.
they'll switch it out in the 6th or 7th year.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't really think Nintendo needs to get like the big AAA third-party games that are coming out on Xbox One Series. I don't know what it's
Series
called.
X, Xbox Series X,
Xbox Series X. And then
and the PlayStation 5.
that one's not hard.
No.
No. Grief and Golem, I'm not sure when you went left out, but right now we're just talking about Switch Pro a little bit. We still haven't gotten to the Breath of the Wild stuff. Like, we touched on it. I wanted to sidebar really quick and then circle right back. Any sort of thoughts on Switch Pro before we... Because I just think it impacts our Breath of the Wild discussion. Because we think Breath of the Wild 2 would be the perfect kind of game to have for the Switch to keep it in the spotlight, right? To really show people, hey, look, we still can have, like, the sophisticated... premier, immersive gaming experience with Breath of the Wild 2, right? Yeah. Switch Pro would add to that, but you take Switch Pro out of the equation, that's not there anymore. Breath of the Wild 2 doesn't make it out this year. That's not there anymore. Now, an interesting correlation possibly is that maybe the plan was have Switch Pro and Zelda come out together.
Maybe.
Right? And maybe now that we're hearing rumors suggesting it might not come out this year, maybe it's because they want... I feel like they wouldn't hold it back for a system, though. I just bring it as a possibility, but I don't think they would do that. But
holding back Breath of the Wild or holding back the Switch Pro?
Holding back Breath of the Wild.
No, I definitely don't think that they would ever do that. Holding back the Switch Pro, now they might do that. But my question is, I honestly... How big is this delay supposed to be? Because I don't see them releasing... It's weird. It's like, how long would they delay it? Do you think that if it was ready in like March, they'd just be like, hey, doing March again?
I mean, they're releasing Animal Crossing in March. They released Breath of the Wild 1 in March.
Yeah.
Animal Crossing's huge.
Just be like... But it's also like a good spring game. Especially when you consider like the fact that it's like real time. So you go through all the holidays and stuff.
Yeah, I think Breath of the Wild is a good anytime game, so...
Yeah, I'm just like, typically, the Switch was just a really weird situation where they released it in March.
Yeah.
And not on a holiday, and I'm just like, would they do that again? Would they wait? I don't know if they would wait, like... I'm just thinking, like, if it doesn't come out this December, I'm curious when in 2021 it would release. That's just my thing. Like, it'd be weird if Breath of the Wild came out in the summer.
So I'm gonna tell you this. My 3 favorite games that I've played on Switch all came out in 2017. Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I love Super Smash Bros. I love Mario Kart 8. I love Fire Emblem Three Houses. I love Pokemon Sword and Shield, mostly for the post-battling experience. The single player is good, but it's not great, right? It's a good game, not a great game. Unless you're into the competitive battle, like that, it is a great game. There's different levels to this. Point is, my favorite games on Switch as immersive gaming experiences, the top 3 came out in 2017. And I don't think that my thinking is that weird, right? I don't think I'm in the minority here necessarily. The 2017 was the strongest year, it was the first year. I think there's supposed to be a time in a system's life cycle where it reaches that peak point where all of a sudden it has the strongest year, like around the middle time. We're around that time, and I don't think we've really... If Breath of the Wild 2 does not come out this year, and if Mario Odyssey also does not come out this year, which is sort of implied by 3D World coming out this year instead, which is what the rumors are suggesting, that's 2 of the potential biggest games they could have come out this year just gone. So, I just think it would be kind of bad to not have like a major sort of immersive experience again, because we didn't really get it in 2018 either. There was Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was like the biggest game, right? That's not a big immersive single player experience. It's a fighting game. It's that's what it is, and it's good for what it is. It's great for what it is. But you understand what I mean. It's not in a single player adventure. That there's not that, right? We didn't get any Metroid Prime 4. That was delayed. So what do we get? I mean, yeah, we're getting Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. That might come out, like May or June? But that's a remake. It's not a brand new game. So, I am... Given that we didn't get one in 2018, the only thing we really got that's kind of close to that last year was Three Houses.
Yeah.
And Astral Chain is a 20-hour action game. I kind of want something along the lines of Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, or Xenoblade. And we haven't really gotten that much of it. The first year, 2017 kind of led me to believe that we'd have more of those experiences, and I don't think it's really matched up. Now, Grant, I did understand that 2017 was going to be like Nintendo hit the ground running, like they put out all their bangers that year, and there was going to be some slowdown after that. I was sort of hoping that by around this time of year we'd see some big stuff, like maybe we get a new 3D Donkey Kong game, or like something like that would be really cool too. Like, it doesn't have to be Breath of the Wild 2. I'm just sort of waiting to see what that is. If there's no Breath of the Wild 2, and what we get for this year is just Paper Mario, and when I say just, I'm not trying to say these games aren't great. I'm sure they're gonna be, but if we just get Mario Kart, 2D Metroid, Paper Mario, and a whole bunch of HD Wii U ports, that won't really be satisfactory. Granted, I don't know what's coming out this year. There's options, right? They haven't announced it yet. We don't know. But yes, I am going to be disappointed Breath of the Wild 2 does not come out this year.
Yeah, I think that'd be a big letdown, especially since they need games to go up against the next generation consoles, because obviously, like, without a doubt, PS5 and Xbox Series X are going to have a huge spotlight, and Nintendo needs something to take away from that spotlight, because no matter how good the Switch is and how well it's been selling, like, inevitably brand new shiny consoles are going to outweigh the spotlight there. They're going to take over the spotlight compared to a console that's been out for 3 years. So you gotta have something big. And now Mario Kart 9, see, that's the thing, like, Mario Kart 9 is something that I think, the weird thing is, people, when new Mario Kart comes out, it's not like something that's ridiculously over the top hype in terms of like media and stuff. Like, it's talked about, but it's not as big as like something like Mario Odyssey, or a brand new Zelda game, or Metroid Prime, or anything like that.
Even though it sells more.
It sells like crazy.
It's kind of like something that it's, for example, the movies that sell the most aren't necessarily the most critically acclaimed, right? Like, they may be good movies, but they're not the best movies. It's kind of similar with games. Like, the best-selling games aren't necessarily the highest quality games. Now, I'm not trying to imply Mario Kart's not high quality. Mario Kart's really high quality.
Call of Duty is like always the best-selling game like of the year, and it's barely talked about.
Right. And then, I mean, another great example, Fortnite. Everyone plays Fortnite. I like Fortnite. I think it's fine for what it is. Like, it's great. But it's not, it's no God of War, right? It is no Breath of the Wild. It's something else. So, I'm just saying, we need something. I think we need some sort of big adventure game from Nintendo. And I'm going to be disappointed if we don't get it. It doesn't have to be Zelda.
It's a very different... It's very different in terms of like marketing and its user base for Mario Kart compared to like this kind of spotlight that the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X are getting, because those are very much known for their single player like adventures, their God of Wars, their Spider-Mans, their Halos, their Gears of Wars, things like that. And to take that kind of spotlight away, like, you need like a Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey, because that kind of fits that genre more. Yeah. Like, Mario Kart 9 is never gonna convince somebody who is interested in like a Series X or something to get a Switch as well, or to get a Switch instead.
Yeah. Terry Addy, I'm sure we'll get Bayonetta 3 this year. Bayonetta 3 would be really cool. Now, Bayonetta 3 is an action game, but it does have adventure elements, so maybe that could help satisfy me a little bit in that vein. That's possible. Grief and Golem Anatomy. I mean, COD did get nominated and win sound effects for the Game Awards. Like, COD doesn't review poorly. That is, I mean,
Yeah.
let's make ourselves clear here. COD does review really well, but it isn't, because it's sort of the same, basically the same thing every year. It's not really covering new
Yeah,
ground.
it's expected.
And COD isn't celebrated for its single player. Okay, let's just get that straight. It's the single player that's not really that special. I know that they put a lot of money into all the cutscenes and the research and the history, but that's not what you play it for. You play it for the multiplayer, which is tried and true. It's a tried and true formula that happens every year. What we're talking about here aren't multiplayer experiences, right? Which is why Smash, Mario Kart, I'm all for it. I love it, but it's a different experience. I want the single player experience as well. Bayonetta is something, right? And hey, if the Paper Mario is a return to form, that's something too. Those are that's more of that's kind of what I want.
Yeah, don't get us wrong here. Like Paper Mario and Mario Kart 9, hella hype. I'd be playing those games so much. Like I get so into them. It's just not in the same tier as Breath of the Wild 2. Like these are like Breath of the Wild
something
is
that
a
really pushes the
generation-defining
boundary.
Game.
Right. I want something like that. I want Nintendo to give us a Game of the Year candidate kind of game.
That's what the Xbox Series X is gonna have. They have Halo Infinite. That's a game that could definitely contend for Game of the Year.
Yeah.
That is a generation-defining game. That is their biggest IP.
You know what? I'm just gonna say it. I know that the rumor's saying that it may not come out this year, but it's not saying for sure, right? It's just saying that it seems unlikely. It's not set in stone. I think Nintendo understands the value of getting a game like Breath of the Wild 2 out this year, especially after announcing it so soon. I'm going to go out and say, on a limb and say that it is still going to come out holiday 2020. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. Am I going against a rumor from a credible source? Absolutely. But what I have to back me up are rumors beforehand saying that was the internal plan. The game is a sequel using the same engine. They started development back in 2017, and I think Nintendo understands the need of having this game come out by that time. I think it's certainly possible. But also I think it can happen. Am I like sold on it? No, I'm worried that it's not coming out this year. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think it's like for sure not coming out. So it's kind of one of those things where I have to sort of wait and see. I'm like, earlier I commented on my video I posted today. I said I was 55, 45, right? 55 in favor of Breath of the Wild 2 coming out this year, 45 not at this point. So it's almost 50-50, and my number's been dropping, right? Like I think I was like at 80-ish% back in before Game Awards. It's been dropping.
Like 75-25.
It's just I take these if it's coming from Sabby, I take it very seriously. So, but again, Sabby also had another source beforehand that said the opposite. This was like a month ago. So
I think Nintendo would do anything in its power to get it out this year, like on its internal schedule. I think all the people at Monolith, they're all like wanting to work on their next game, the Xenoblade 3, their new IP. They're like, nope, stop. All you guys working on that, you're coming over to Breath of the Wild. You just stop working on that. You're coming over to Breath of the Wild right now. Like I think they'll do everything that they can to get this thing out on time.
But the other thing is that sometimes in Zelda development, to be fair on both sides, right, they may find out something they're doing is like, oh, we can do something really cool here, but we're gonna need more time. That happens with Zelda. So
they would do that.
So it's possible that they were getting there and like, oh, wait a second, there's something really cool we can do, but it's gonna take us longer to get it done. And that's it.
True.
So there's other things. We'll see what happens. I guess part of the thing is that when you're just paying attention to rumors, right, and leaks, you're not getting Nintendo's vision of how they want to share information with you. So the way that information comes out may not be that exciting. It may point you in a way that you're not liking. Right? Right now, what I'm hearing is that we're getting Paper Mario, 2D Metroid, and Mario Kart. That's cool. But I'm also hearing that Breath of the Wild 2 isn't coming, right? And there's no sign of a Metroid Prime, which is what I really want.
Switch Pro.
Or Switch Pro, right? So a lot of the more like
very disappointing.
A lot of the more core-centric stuff is sort of like no, but a lot of the more like casually easier to develop things are like, yes, this is happening, right? Like, I mean, you agree with me, right? Paper Mario, 2D Metroid, and Mario Kart are easier things to see happen this year as opposed to, say, for example, Bayonetta 3,
And
Mario
they're all
Odyssey, and Breath of the
hugely
Wild, too.
hype, but what we're saying here isn't that these games are bad or it's not a good lineup. It's just that you got a couple of B tier games here to fill up for these A tier things that we're expecting, like a Switch Pro. That's an A tier thing. Breath of the Wild, that's an A tier or S tier. You know, whatever. That's the top tier. Whatever you decided that.
Yeah,
the top
Breath
tier
of the Wild 2 is the top of the food chain. That is the very toppity top. There's very few things that are that high. Like, it's S tier. We're talking about something that I expect to be one of the highest rated games of all time. We're talking about something that I expect to be
a sequel to one of the best games,
generation-defining game. Right, exactly.
Generation-defining game. Breath of the Wild was like
Breath of the Wild 2 is
game.
going to improve upon a generation-defining game. It may also prove to be a generation-defining game. That's what we're talking about here, right? Paper Mario, Mario Kart, great, but they're not going to be generation-defining, and that's the difference here, right? So, I hope it makes it, but I understand that it may not. Yeah.
And if they want to delay it because they want to make it even better than it could have been, then, I mean, that's fine. That's the thing is, like, we just don't know, like, the reasoning yet. Like, that's the thing. Like, we're in the dark.
Nintendo Direct. We need some news, man. I want to see some stuff. Okay? I need to see some stuff. And, while it may be a remix, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition may prove to be an incredible experience. There could be some dramatic changes there, and those dramatic changes could make it, I mean, it was already special, but make it special for a modern audience. So that's something to look forward to for sure.
And it wouldn't be so bad if Breath of the Wild got delayed for a few months. So, April or May we get March, April, May we get Breath of the Wild 2, and then October, November we get Super Mario Odyssey 2 in 2021. That wouldn't be so bad either.
But maybe 2021 is the year I'm waiting for. We get Mario Odyssey 2, Metroid Prime 4, and Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah, that might just be it. Like, we just don't know what Nintendo's plans are, bro. We got little scraps of information that may or may not be true. We're not seeing the whole picture here. We're getting puzzle pieces. We're not even sure if those puzzle pieces are correct.
And I really want the Nintendo Direct. But Brandon, in your opinion, like to you personally, right? If Breath of the Wild 2 doesn't come out this year, what could come out instead? And it doesn't have to be just one game. It could be a combination of things that sort of make up for that. Is there a way to make up for that? And I think the answer for me is
honestly,
no. There isn't a way to make up for it.
I don't think there is. Mario Kart 9, as I was saying before, that's not going to make up for it. Definitely it will sell well, but it's not going to be one of those games that... I think Mario Kart doesn't really... I don't think it pushes systems in the way that other big best-selling games on the platform do. Like, Mario Kart really sells to the audience that already has a Switch. Not necessarily, like... I don't think it's going to sell to a new audience, because we already have Mario Kart Deluxe, which sold to that new audience that people want Mario Kart.
Right. I mean,
it's not really something that people are going to be like, oh my god, there's a Mario Kart on Switch. I'm going to go buy it. Like, no, there's already a Mario Kart on the Switch.
Right. I hear what you're saying. I see that. Like, it's just because of how much we want Zelda over everything else. You could have a really good game come out every month, and it could be a great year, and I'll enjoy all of that, and I'll be satisfied as a gamer, but I'll still would have wanted Breath of the Wild too, like, that disappointment is not, that the disappointment is going to exist. Like, that is just what it is. I'll still be happy with all the games I have. I'll still enjoy all of it. I'll still be really excited about those things, but that disappointment will still be there. There's nothing that's gonna fix that disappointment but Breath of the Wild. The only thing that can fix the disappointment for Breath of the Wild 2 if it doesn't come out this year is Metroid Prime 4, but I know that's not happening.
Mario Odyssey 2 is also one that I think would fix it, but it's not. I don't think it's gonna happen though.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah, I don't expect Mario Odyssey 2 or Metroid Prime 4 this year.
The only other one than those that I can think could possibly be something that it wouldn't fix it, but it'd help, would be if Retro Studios had like a really, really, really big game planned. And I'm not talking the Nintendo Land, like obviously that wouldn't fix it. But if they had a 3D Donkey Kong and not a 2D Donkey Kong, 2D Donkey Kong, again, it'd be the same situation as Paper Mario Kart 9.
We want
Great
something
game.
groundbreaking.
Absolutely fantastic.
We want
yeah,
something groundbreaking.
you gotta have the 3D Donkey Kong if
Like a great
if
one.
that is, yeah.
Like not just a good, like a great one. Like something that's like masterful. That would be amazing. Okay, there is, you know what? There is one thing for me actually that if was announced for this year would have me booming, and you know what it is.
F-Zero?
Yep. F-Zero I'd be racing. I'd buy a cardboard F-Zero racer and just run around screaming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though F-Zero would definitely never sell as well as Mario Kart 9, the hype around it would be way bigger.
It'd be a special moment. Just because it would bring back something that's been gone for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be a really special moment, and that'd make me really happy.
And Terry saying Pikmin 4, I just wanted to bring this up. I know there's some other comments.
Well, Pikmin 3 is coming out this year.
Yeah, we think there's a Pikmin 3 port, and Pikmin 4. Let's be honest, that thing is gonna sell like 1 million, you know, roughly. It's gonna have an audience, but it's not gonna be like, no, like Paper Mario's gonna sell better than it. Mario Kart 9 is gonna sell better than it. Obviously, Animal Crossing is gonna sell way better than it. Heck, Xenoblade Remake might sell better than it. I don't know, you know.
Well, I don't know, man. This could be the time for Pikmin to finally blow up.
Maybe.
But I'll agree with you that Pikmin is not as mainstream as those other things. No. Pikmin to me is kind of like Paper Mario. Like, it's a cool. I know what you like more. You like Paper Mario more, but that's because you're a core Paper Mario fan. I feel like, in terms of like tiers, I feel like Pikmin is kind of there. Now, Pikmin's hasn't come out as much, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it hasn't.
And it doesn't have the Mario name. I think.
It doesn't have the Mario name, but in terms of quality of a game, I think they're about the same.
I mean, Pikmin they're all three of those games are absolutely fantastic games.
Yeah, they're great games and
super well polished.
Actually, they might have a better critical average score than Paper Mario.
Oh yeah. Then it is a very much better track run than the Paper Mario series. Yeah. Where really most people only like the first two games.
But the thing is, you're thinking about like Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. And the original Paper Mario.
Way better.
And when we're hearing about a return to form here,
it's just
way higher. When I'm thinking about Paper Mario, I'm not thinking about the bad Paper Marios. I'm thinking about the Paper Mario Return to Form, because that's what the rumor. It's not just Paper Mario, it's Paper Mario Return to Form, which just have me pretty excited. That kind of game, like if it's like a modern day Paper Mario Thousand Year Door kind of game, that's something that would have me very happy. That would be really cool to see.
I would say the first Paper Mario is more in the Pikmin tier, but Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, Paper Mario 2, is just it just went so much farther beyond the original and just
even further beyond.
It means to go even further beyond plus ultra. Yes, it just way better than the first one. It just built on everything the first one did and just went above and beyond in every aspect. So if they can match that kind of tier, that's bigger than a Pikmin in my opinion by far.
Yeah, but I don't expect Pikmin 4 or Mario Odyssey 2 this year, assuming the rumor is true that Pikmin 3 and 3D World are coming out this year. And that it's just another thing. Like I know I keep harping on it, but if we don't get Pikmin 4 this year, if we don't get Mario Odyssey 2 this year, we're not getting Metroid Prime 4 this year. If you take away my Breath of the Wild, I'm gonna be a little salty.
Can we at least get a Metroid Prime Trilogy HD that's like super?
You know what?
Awesome?
I feel like, and this could be just my own biased interpretation, Brandon.
Sword HD, please.
Right, maybe. But I just want to speak to the Prime Trilogy part. This could be my own biased interpretation, but just sort of reading over different things that leakers have been suggesting, I feel like some have been alluding to the possibility that Prime Trilogy will be announced at this Direct.
Mm-hmm.
That could just be me just sort of like really wanting it to happen, you know?
Now we've discussed this before, but I feel like our opinion changes every time we talk about it.
It does.
Do you think Prime Trilogy HD and a 2D Metroid would come out this year.
I think it's possible, but I'm not confident about it.
You're not confident.
Yeah.
Going off of the rumors we have so far, which one do you think is more likely? A 2D Metroid, assuming there can only be one. 2D Metroid or Metroid Prime Trilogy HD?
So, my thing is that when I pay attention to like the credible leakers, there's a certain theme with what they say and my feelings towards it. It's all sounds kind of good, but never great. Right? So, assuming all the leakers are true, and we've seen that that's not always not true, because that same theme of sounds kind of good but never great was sort of exactly how I felt about all the Smash leaks. And guess what? They were freaking wrong. Okay, we got our Banjo-Kazooie, right? We got a Nintendo character with Byleth. I think Hero was actually a lot better than the way it was initially explained to be. Terry was a complete surprise. So, I think the Fires Pass ended up better, way better than what a lot of leakers would have had you believe, in my opinion. Like, to me personally, it's way cooler than what the leaks told me it was going to be. The leaks told me it was going to be Minecraft Steve. I'm not a fan of Minecraft Steve, okay? And I know some of you may like Steve. I'm not saying you can't like Steve. I'm just saying for me, as a Nintendo fan, this Fighters Pass is way better than what the leakers would have had me believe. So, I'm just saying that sometimes the leaker's vision, the way it's presented, the information they have, it's not necessarily what I like the most, but based off what leaks have been suggesting, I don't know, man. I really want my Prime Trilogy, but I guess it kind of makes sense just to get 2D Metroid this year.
I would say, going off the leaks, 2D Metroid has had seems more credible, just because everybody's been saying Prime Trilogy and getting it wrong over and over again. It feels like I just feel like
there's a really good chance that
in Pikmin 4.
Right. I just feel like there's a really good chance though that something's gonna happen and everyone's like, oh, the leaks were wrong. This is the truth, right? Like that happens a lot. So, like I think these leaks come from credible sources, but I also feel like sometimes people are misled or different things happen. So I don't want to fully buy into these leaks. Like we talk about them because there's a chance they could be true. But so I'm not gonna fully buy into everything here. Like for example, supposedly Pikmin 3 was supposed to happen last year and Prime Trilogy. It didn't happen, right? So, I mean, maybe the Prime Trilogy and Pikmin 3 happened this year. We'll see. In terms of what I think just kind of makes sense, right? Like if Prime Trilogy is gonna happen, if Prime Trilogy and 2D Metroid are gonna happen, one of them has to be announced in this direct coming, and what I assume is February. Like at least one of them has to be announced then.
Honestly, in my opinion, I think Prime Trilogy will definitely release this year. I think it's one of those games, like if you're gonna release a trilogy, an HD trilogy, typically what they've been doing, like as far as what they've been doing for things like Zelda and Bayonetta and different things, like it's not really that you do it in the same year or even a year before you launch the new game. It's usually like a couple of years before, so you want a year in between. So I feel like they're not gonna wait for Trilogy HD till like next year, because some people are like, yeah, maybe they wanted it a little bit closer to Metroid Prime 4, but typically that's not how they've done it. Like they don't just delay it to be like right next to the new game. Like that's not how they've been doing their HD remakes. That's just not how any of them have been. So I don't really buy into that logic. So I definitely think that if they're gonna release an HD trilogy, it should be this year. Like this is the year to do it. A 2D Metroid, I could see it coming out this year as well, but I could also just see it coming out next year. Even if they do have Metroid Prime 4 planned for next year, 2D Metroid's a completely different beast, so it can come out the same year. And we don't know if Prime 4 will even be next year. They may be 2022, and they want to have a 2D Metroid, to have something Metroid in 2021.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think it makes any sense to delay Prime Trilogy any longer than it is, unless it's just not actually a thing. Honestly, I think it either comes out this year, or it's not a thing. That's my opinion on the matter.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, or am I crazy? Like,
I don't think you're crazy. I think you could be right. I have this feeling of, this is just my feelings, like, just release it already. If it's actually been ready for so long, as so many leakers have suggested, release it already. In fact, I think, do I have a website open right now that's an example of some of these leakers saying just what I'm saying right now? Do I? Yep, right here. All right, so this is from Zippo, someone who supposedly has different sources, who's been backed by Sabby. Here he says, once again, Pikmin 3 and 3D World are super real. Metroid Prime Trilogy can literally put on the eShop tomorrow if Nintendo wants. It's that ready to go. Hope your day gets better. Please make my day better. So Zippo on Reset Era.
Zippo. Okay.
Yeah, Zippo. Zippo. So here he was just reaffirming that Pikmin 3 and 3D World are real. Also said that Prime Trilogy can be dropped at any moment. So I talked about him in a video like a week or so ago. I don't necessarily like how he suggested Prime Trilogy could just be put on the eShop. I feel like that could possibly be implying that it's just kind of like a basic Wii U sort of rip for Virtual Console. That's not necessarily what he means, and I'm going to go on a limb and say that's not what he means, right?
Yeah,
but
I don't think so.
But I think the simple point was just to say that the game is ready to drop at any point. It hasn't been. So I really hope that that's in February, man. But at the end of the day, though, let's say we do get Prime Trilogy this year, and we get Pikmin 3, and we get Wonderful 101, which is not really being published by Nintendo from what we're hearing, by the way, guys. I haven't talked about that. Wonderful 101.
Definitely not. You know, that's the thing, because we both thought Wonderful 101 would be one of the 2 ports, but
well, it is coming. I wasn't wrong.
Yeah. Now that didn't seem to be the case. It's not one of the 2 Wii U ports.
It's something else. Yeah.
It's something completely entirely. It's a Kickstarter thing.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much like a done deal. Like that's pretty much a fact. It's not been officially announced, but that's pretty much.
It's being reported by credible sources.
Yeah, like that's what's happening essentially.
Yeah.
Like in a few days, it's gonna get officially confirmed. So yeah, Mario 3D World and Pikmin 3 seem to be the ones to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's weird that they're going with 3D World.
I never thought it was weird. I like the. The only reason I thought it was going to be Wonderful 101 because the developers said they wanted to do something with that game.
Right, and we weren't wrong. It's just it wasn't one of the Wii U ports that the artist was referring to. Even though it is technically
Mario,
a Wii U port.
I did say it was 50-50 between the 2, and the only reason I picked Wonderful 101 was because the developers had mentioned it.
Right, so it's actually 3 Wii U ports.
Yeah, technically.
Yeah, if you want to count Prime Trilogy like before, which is kind of the point I was sort of trying to get at, is that's a lot of... Prime Trilogy is not really a Wii U port, it's actually a Wii port, but...
It's not even a port, so...
It would be a remaster, but...
Yeah.
And your point is, that's a lot of... And we're also getting Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. That's a lot of repurposed content. Think about that. If we do get Prime Trilogy this year, Wonderful 101, although it's not being published by Nintendo, so that's something to, take into consideration. But either way, Pikmin 3, 3D World, and Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, if that all happens this year, which that's what the rumors are suggesting, save for Prime Trilogy sort of hit or miss, but that's a lot of repurposed content, guys. And supposedly, on top of that, we're not getting Breath of the Wild 2 this year. That's kind of like I literally just slapped myself in the face because it's a whole bunch of repurposed content, and the big hype game of the year supposedly isn't coming. So this is what I mean by sometimes when I pay attention to leaks, I'm just like, oh, this is not that exciting. But we don't have the whole picture. These leaks could be wrong, or it could just be parts of the information. There could be some really exciting things. But I can see how some people might be thinking, oh, but I thought this year was going to be really hype. It could be. I'm waiting for the Nintendo Direct to sort of show me why I should be excited. Nintendo's making me desperate now. I'm getting to that stage.
And let's be clear, like I'm not gonna be crying over it if what we get this year is Animal Crossing, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Definitive Edition, Metroid Prime Trilogy HD, Pikmin 3, Super Mario 3D World, Mario Kart 9, and Paper Mario game. Like, I'm not gonna be crying. Like, I'm gonna be hyped as hell. But that's not on the same tier as, getting, Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild and Switch Pro. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Man.
I will say it'll probably be better than 2018, 2019 were, in my opinion. Just for me, the types of games that I like.
Well, Animal Crossing is
coming
coming out in March. You must be hyped.
Yeah, I am, for sure.
Yeah.
So I think it would be a better year than those years, which definitely weren't bad years by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not a 2017.
Duo plays. I hope this isn't supposed to be the big year for third-party support, because, I mean, like, if it is, sure, but we've been, I don't know. We don't
even really know, like, I assume we're going to get several third-party announcements in the next direct, because all we really know of right now is Doom Eternal, and that got delayed to who knows when.
Like, what is big third-party support? Just things that have already come out? Well, I mean, we'll see, man.
We have the Outer Worlds, but that's... People are upset, but I want to say just real quick, people are upset that that's a digital-only game. Don't sleep on that game just because it's digital-only. Like, at least get it on a different platform. If you just really are salty about the Switch
version, a really good game.
Digital-only, it's a freaking amazing game. Like, I took a short break to beat Torna because that was number one priority, and it should have been like 2 years ago. But I'm hopping I just beat Torna, absolutely amazing. Hopping right back on in Outer Worlds because it is just absolutely fantastic. Has some of the best side quests and pretty much the best side quests of any game I've ever played. The most interesting kind of like open world, like the amount of choice you have to you could like literally just murder everybody and go through the game like that. Like the amount of like choice you have is ridiculous. It's an absolutely fantastic game. If you like Fallout, it's like Fallout but 1,000 times better in my opinion. So absolutely fantastic. Don't sleep on that game. But yeah, that's another, just speaking on third-party support for the Switch, that's another big one that we got. But that's the only one I can really think of is Outer Worlds and Doom Eternal. Do we really have anything else that I'm missing?
Not that I really know of at this point.
So, yeah, and if it's supposed to be a big year for third parties, we don't know anything about it yet. So
I don't know, man. I gotta wait and see. We have to wait and see. I mean, hey, the Bravely Default 2, we know about that. That's interesting.
Oh, yeah, true.
Right?
That's a big one. That's a big, single player RPG.
I don't define it as big. I define it as neat.
It's
somewhere between neat and big. Neating.
Yeah, big is a
neat.
bit of a big term for it.
Big neat. Big neat. Yeah.
I think it's gonna be big for some people. For certain people, it's definitely big.
Bravely Default 2, I believe, is being developed by Square Enix, so
that's probably because they have their own exclusive. Well, that's probably not being made by that team. It's being made by. Well, no, because the Octopath team is the same team, but there's another team that also works exclusively on Switch stuff. So I'm not really sure how that works exactly.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be made by the Octopath team, so they're not making Octopath 2 because they're the Bravely Default devs. So
Terry Service Academy is asking, what if they announce a remake or a true proper sequel to Super Mario RPG? I don't really expect that with Paper Mario, but I'm hoping that Paper Mario takes some more inspiration from Super Mario RPG. Just as a fan of Super Mario RPG, that's really all. Which could still be great. I definitely think that would be a good move. I mean, Paper Mario is a spiritual successor to Mario RPG, so yeah, especially if they're gonna have Geno and Smash. I think that would also just get a lot more fans into the series, and there's a lot of unique, places and characters and things from Super Mario RPG that aren't in the Paper Mario series yet, and why not? Why not put a Paper Mario twist on those locations and stuff from Super Mario RPG. Throw a little bit of nostalgia in there. Not the entire game would be revolving around it. It's not going to be a Super Mario RPG sequel, but have some nods, some hints, maybe some locations from Super Mario RPG. Maybe have Geno show up. Maybe not. He doesn't even have to be a main character, but if he's like, some big character in one of the locations, maybe, or something like that, or maybe he even can join your party as a partner, and you can play as him. That'd be cool.
if they're gonna have him in Smash, which a lot of people think is gonna happen, obviously not confirmed, but if it's gonna happen, I think that'd be super good marketing. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely, for sure. So I think there's some potential there with Paper Mario. Griffin Golden brought No More Heroes 3. No More Heroes 3 is coming out this year. Now, I do not expect No More Heroes 3 to be...
Bayonetta 3, possibly.
Bayonetta 3, that's in the cards, right?
Dumo's bringing up Shin Megami Tensei. We haven't brought up
We
that.
don't know when in the world that's happening, but yeah, that's also in the cards. These are potential big games. But all I really want is Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's just like there's never gonna be a future without Breath of 2. Well,
there's nothing that fills the hole that would be left by Breath of the Wild 2. There really isn't. No. Like, I'll go out, man.
For me, there's nothing, because Zelda is the biggest franchise for me. Like, it's my favorite franchise. That it's the thing that got me into gaming. It's one of the biggest things that keep me in gaming. It's just something I'm always wanting to play. Like, even these days, like, sometimes I'll just randomly be like, damn, I want to play Wind Waker right now. So or Ocarina of Time, or any of the Zelda games. So it's just one of those things. It's the biggest thing. It's just the top. It's there's nothing higher than it. So
earlier you said that you still feel confident Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out this year despite recent rumors.
I'm 75-25.
Why? Do you just not believe these rumors as much, or is there something more?
I think there's more to these rumors than what they currently are reporting on. In my opinion, I definitely think that they might be a little worried that they might not be able to get it out this year. But I don't think that they're internally like, oh, yep, already, no, too bad, so sad we're not getting it out this year. I definitely think they might go into crunch time. I definitely think they're gonna pull some people off of, Marlon Saws.
They're gonna try.
Yeah, they're gonna try their hardest, and I think they'll be able to make it. That's my thing. Like, I think they planned this ahead enough. Announcing in 20. That's the thing. Like,
so it's not even that you're saying the rumor's
move.
Wrong. It's that you're saying, because the rumor doesn't say for sure, right? Mm-hmm. It's just from what they're hearing, it doesn't seem super likely at this point.
Yeah.
That would just simply suggest that right now it's not set in stone, but we're acknowledging, or at least we believe that Nintendo also believes that Breath of the Wild 2 needs to come out this year. Like, there's a high importance for that, and if it doesn't make it out by the end of the year, there would be a loss there, right, in terms of maintaining spotlight, especially with the new consoles coming out. So you're suggesting that simply Nintendo is going to do what they can to try to get it done. Bringing in other teams. Maybe I do think there's a lot of importance there. They have been working on it for a little bit already, so I want to believe that.
And earlier,
I want to believe.
Earlier you were kind of like, oh, maybe there's one of those things where they came up with something like, oh, we really want to do this and it's gonna get delayed. Obviously that was something that did happen with the original Breath of the Wild. I think it's much less likely to happen for this one, just because they have the core mechanics of Breath of the Wild, from Breath of the Wild. They have that down. They've been thinking about this sequel for years before even the original Breath of the Wild released. They were thinking about what they can do for Breath of the Wild, and they were thinking about what they can do for Breath of the Wild DLC. Like, even as far back before even the release of the original game, they were thinking about what they wanted to do. So it's a lot less likely that now, of all times, they would just suddenly be like, nah, we're going to delay this super important game that we have in, already set in, internally planned for 2020 because we want to put this new thing that we just suddenly thought of. Like, they just put it in DLC. Like, I don't think there's something core, like a core thing that they are thinking of that they want to delay this super huge important.
I'll tell you this.
Because, like, on
if
the
Breath
Wii
of the Wild 2 does not come out this year, I will never think Zelda could come out in a timely manner ever again.
Yeah. Because, like, on the Wii U, it was smart to delay it. You want to get that cross-gen launch with the Switch. The Wii U's not doing well. Why launch a big Wii U game like Zelda Breath of the Wild when you could make it better and not launch it on only a dying platform? Like, now, it doesn't make sense to delay it. Delaying it would actually be a bad thing right now. Before, it was actually a perfectly great thing to delay it.
Right. I mean, at least last year,
bad
you had Pokemon. I mean, I'm just talking about the Animal Crossing thing. You had Pokemon Luigi's Mansion, and Animal Crossing had just recently been announced. You know, it's a little like the Animal Crossing situation is very different because Animal Crossing was announced after Breath of the Wild was revealed. Breath of the Wild 2 was revealed, and it's coming up before Breath of the Wild 2 will be. You know, like it's within that window, because Animal Crossing was announced last. Am I getting that wrong? I might be getting
that. You're getting that wrong. It was announced.
Yeah, I am getting that. I'm getting that wrong. Yeah, you're right.
2018.
Right, because Breath of the Wild 2 was revealed E3 2019. You're right. Yeah, so.
It was announced.
But my point is that it'll be a 9-month. No. September 2018, September 2019. So it'll be about almost a year and a half, actually, right? Breath of the Wild 2, assuming it comes to holiday 2020, would be actually a year and a half, right? So it'd be a little bit longer.
And that's
assuming
that's
it makes it out this year.
Animal Crossing got delayed.
Right. Assuming Breath of the Wild 2 makes it out this year, it's revealed to release window. Assuming it comes out this year. It's already longer than a delayed Animal Crossing.
Yeah, it's already longer than most games on the Switch.
Right. So if it gets delayed again, that I think would be unfortunate.
That'd be a problem.
And Dual Plays is talking about how Mario Kart would be a great sub in for. No, I just don't. I don't
we
feel
were
the same.
talking about it earlier.
Yeah,
the sales definitely are there.
Sales wise, yes.
Of, like,
having a fun game,
hype,
yes, it's a fun game.
Yeah,
but it's just a different kind of experience that we're getting out of it.
In terms of hype, in terms of selling,
we've been on
this
consoles,
all day. In terms of we have. In terms of battling the spotlight of the Xbox Series X and PS5, it's not even close to the same league. Not even close.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've already gone over this like time and time again.
Yeah.
This discussion.
Yeah. But Duo is also asking about another option for Big Sur. What does Game Freak bring this year? I think they're taking a year off because they're not really taking a year off, but they're doing the DLC for Sword and Shield. Like that. Yeah, that is what they're doing.
They're doing the DLC and they're doing the remake of Mystery Dungeon. That's what they have planned.
Is Game Freak? I don't know if Game Freak handles Mystery Dungeon, but they're actually porting over Town.
The Pokemon company.
Yeah. But Town is porting over. Is being ported over to other systems. So that's probably pretty much what Game Freak is working on this year, and then next year they'll come out with probably.
I actually didn't know Town was being ported to other systems.
Yep.
Why? That game didn't review or sell well.
It's whatever. Yeah. But going beyond that, as much as I want Breath of the Wild, it'll happen when it happens. Maybe we'll get. We're in need of a Nintendo Direct. That's pretty much it. We're in need of it. But I guess just sort of summarize what's going on right now. So, Switch Pro, according to Nintendo president Shuntaro Furukawa, there is no Switch revision coming out this year. So, take that out of the picture. There are rumors for 2D Metroid and Paper Mario, credible rumors, for this year. Okay? And it seems like that it could actually be a Paper Mario return to form and there's some debate whether it's a Metroid Fusion remake or a Metroid Fusion sequel, but that seems to be like Metroid 5, so we'll see what happens with that. We also know about Super Mario 3D World and Pikmin 3 being ported over. Also Wonderful 1 getting a Kickstarter to be ported to multiple systems, including the Switch. And then Mario Kart 9 supposedly is in the cards for holiday title. Breath of the Wild 2 may be getting delayed. It's not concrete yet, so we'll see what happens. I think that's pretty much a summary of everything, right? Did I miss anything?
As far as like news,
like the rumors as of late, yeah. That's a lot.
I think we covered.
That's a lot. I think we need a Nintendo Direct because a lot of we need some of these questions answered. I think
we also need to know what's going on with Bayonetta, what's going on with Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah,
those are two games that we've just been in the dark completely for what's going on with those.
And I would like a release date confirmation for Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're hoping what, May, April?
Yeah.
April, May.
Yeah. I'm also hoping for some sort of Metroid announcement in the next Nintendo Direct. And if Mario Kart 9 comes out this year, well, I think that makes the most business sense. I'll be a little sad because that means another racing game from Nintendo that is not F-Zero.
Yeah.
Yeah. Will F-Zero ever make its return? I hope. I mean, but maybe this is the year Nintendo starts to tap into some of their other franchises, right? Like maybe we see a Kid Icarus game, probably not. Maybe we see a 3D Donkey Kong game, probably not. Maybe we see a legitimate Star Fox game, probably not. But Maybe.
Almost definitely not.
One
It's
of
not
those,
Bucks.
maybe,
Maybe.
they gotta use them eventually.
Maybe we'll know the mysterious,
Games sell on Switch.
long-awaited game from
Retro Studios. Yeah. And
Maybe
we're talking about Nintendo Land too. Could be.
Nintendo Land 2, the game that will replace Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah.
They both have 2 in the title, therefore they're equivalent.
They are equivalents. You got that.
Yes.
I mean, I think we're pretty much done with the podcast. There's not really much else to talk about tonight, right? You got anything else in mind, Brandon?
There is just one last thing, and it's not really a topic. It's just like a small point of the possible Breath of the Wild delay, because I don't think it's official.
It's not.
I don't think it's an official thing. I don't think Nintendo.
Also,
like,
Nintendo also never
Nintendo-
officially said it was 2020 either. So there's
Right,
that.
right. But
Yeah.
inside Nintendo, for their internal plans, I
Yeah.
don't think they've officially delayed it internally. In my opinion, I think
Yeah.
they're worried about it. Do you think, because we were kind of thinking that maybe there was a possibility we could get a 2020 confirmation in the next direct. How likely do you think that is now that there's supposedly, and we don't know how old this rumor is, like information could have been from months ago. Who knows? Like, and they're
Yeah.
just now hearing about it, giving it to Savvy. This could be old news, and maybe Nintendo's already worked things out. But do you think, if Nintendo is currently worried that they're not going to release in 2020, obviously they wouldn't want to then confirm it at this direct. So do you think we'll get what are your chances now, do you think, for a 2020 confirmation for Breath of the Wild? Like, do you think it's, not going to happen? Or you think it's less likely?
For a release date confirmation.
Yeah.
Oh
a
man.
2020 release
Well,
date.
I mean, I've been on the train of thought that we don't even see it till E3. Lately.
Train of thought that we won't get it.
No, we'll see it. We won't even see it till E3. I mean, I'll say this, dude. If
That's been my position.
Here's
for a
my
while, so.
that's sort of my expectation. I don't expect to see it again until E3. However, if you want the February Nintendo Direct to be the best February Nintendo Direct ever, right? You give me my Prime Trilogy. You announce a new game for something, like be it Donkey Kong or F-Zero, something new, right? That we did not know about. Something new. I really want something new and major talked about during this Direct. Give us updates on Bayonetta 3. Give us updates on Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition and Animal Crossing. And then at the end, confirm the game's coming on 2020. You do that. And this Direct will be the February Direct of all February Directs.
It's legendary.
Yeah. So, I would be really happy about that. I'd be super happy about that. And, maybe one thing they do instead is that instead of they confirm... I can see... I can kind of see a situation where... maybe they show off Paper Mario, right? The Paper Mario is that new thing, right? And then... at the end of the Direct, instead of our 2020 confirmation of Breath of the Wild, we just hear wheels. Mario Kart 9 coming this holiday. Which would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I'd like that, actually. Yeah. I'd be worried about Breath of the Wild too, but it'd be
like, oh, Breath of the Wild 2.
Dead.
I'd cry.
Yeah. But then it'd be like, oh, wait, we have one more announcement. Then it's like, and then it's Zelda. That'd be cool. Like, what if it shows like another action scene, like Link and Zelda getting chased or something, and then it like jumps into gameplay and you start fighting. It's like, and then it's like, also coming holiday 2020. That would be like they do the Mario Kart 9 tease, and then they're like, oh wait, we have one more thing. Also coming holiday 2020. That would be so sick if they were like, both Mario Kart 9 and Zelda are coming holiday 2020. Prepare to have no money because they're giving it all to us. Right? Like, that would be so cool. But that's me fanboying right now. Like, I hope that happens.
100%
I mean, that'd be a pretty good 1-2 punch, actually. Like, what if we get both? That would be an incredible 1-2 punch, because you have some serious variety there. Mario Kart 9, or Smash Kart, would be it's it would be that kind of multiplayer game that everyone wants. Especially they go to do it like the way we sort of talked about, where they add the missions mode, a story mode. Maybe they could sort of turn into a little bit more like a Diddy Kong Racing, where there's a little bit of a hub world where you could explore a little bit more of the Mario Kart environment. But also online, you have seasons. There's different ways to play and interact with people, and really flesh that out. Then this Mario Kart could be like the Splatoon for Mario Kart, where it's a lot more fully featured online. It's more of a big experience for that, and that would be huge. But that would be the huge multiplayer experience. And then Zelda is the huge single-player experience. They fully master the open-air environment. It's even more dense with content. It's not, I don't want to say compact, it's just denser. Like, it's still going to be large and vast, but also denser than the previous one. It's be filled with like different things to do, more side quests. It's a darker Zelda, and it offers that narrative experience that we sort of were lacking a little bit in Breath of the Wild 1, but still giving us that open world to explore and you know, having that wonder to sort of discovering all these new things. You get both of those things for holiday 2020. Say like maybe one's in December, one's in October or November, like late November, early October, something like that. That would be ginormous, and that 1-2 punch would be what it would take to really cement Nintendo's like, hey, we got this, right? This is our year. Don't worry about those next gen systems. We don't need a Switch Pro. We got Mario Kart and we got Zelda. You give us that, that'll be it. That's what we need, I think. Not one of them, but I think both would be what it would take to really like keep the spotlight on Nintendo.
If they have both Mario Kart 9 and Zelda, it's over. It's over.
GG, my friends. That would be fantastic. But this is just speculation. They're both rumored right now, right? Maybe Mario Kart 9 is not even real. Maybe it's Excite Bike. You know, I'd say it's unlikely. I think Excite Bike would be pretty cool, but that wouldn't be the same. I guess we'll see. Heck, dude, what if they announce a Nintendo Direct for tomorrow? And it's on Wednesday.
No, I need it on Thursday.
Yeah.
How dare.
It would be nice to see. Yeah. Anyways, guys, I hope that for this podcast, it wasn't just me. It sounds like me complaining the whole time. It's like, me, I want me my Breath of the Wild. I'm sorry, but it's true. I want me my Breath of the Wild. But, dude, if we talk about Mario Kart, that would be pretty awesome too. And that Paper Mario, if it's actually returned to form, will be really exciting. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. And I at least expect we're going to get an update. Like, if there's one prediction that I feel really good about for the next Direct, seeing more for Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Yeah, and that's going to be nice. Actually, one more question for you. Do you think we'll get an update on a Smash DLC character in the February Nintendo Direct?
No.
Yeah,
That's too early.
I agree. I think it's kind of like getting the Smash presentation beforehand was sort of like, hey, this is what we're going to do now. And then I think the next time we see something might even be E3.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we got 2 years to go 6 characters. They got time.
I mean, so January, what's usually the window? Like, maybe waiting until June would be a little much.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, that's 5 months. I mean, we're in February already, so 4 months.
Well, they did go 5 characters over a year last time, and now they are doing
it's 6 across until holiday 2021, right? Yeah. So, actually, if you think about that, I mean, we're spread out. The next one being in June wouldn't be that much of a stretch, but I think it would have to be like a shadow drop, which is not something they've done. So, I don't know.
Well, it's very early in June, the E3, so maybe it could be announced in June and released in June.
Yeah,
you know,
it could be like a week or two later.
January, released in January.
Yeah, I mean, like, didn't they do? Well, Hero wasn't a shadow drop,
was
but
June and then July.
Right, but they had the presentation for Hero that day. Right, they talked about Hero on E3 at later at E3, right? Is that?
No.
There wasn't. When was the Hero presentation?
In July, because he got the presentation for him, and he got it released.
Right, because the presentations happen like right before they come out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
But I think it could be a Byleth situation where they get announced and then like a week or two later, boom, they're there.
Okay. Yeah, maybe that could happen. Well, I guess that's it for now, guys. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Make sure to check out Brandon's channel, What About Nintendo? It's linked in the description below. And we'll see you all really soon. Take care.
Bye, guys.